Hey, welcome Janice Wilkins, Herman Gomez, Andy, and Butch Deloria. It is Fallout Feed, recording time, episode 77. Welcome to the show, everybody. Tonight we have live in the podcast. This is Pat, your host for the evening, joined by Andrew. Andrew, how you doing?
Awesome. Hey, Pat, how's it going tonight, sir?
It is going all right. It is going okay tonight. It's a lovely Thursday evening here in podcast land. So just the two of us here live in the show, but we have a ton of great listener content tonight.
Oh my God, this community! I tell you, they're gonna.
Yeah, no, man, we are. This is. I think this roundtable session, at least for Fallout Feed, has been just absolutely terrific with the community participation.
It's been usually this deep into a season, people start tailing off a little bit. You know, the feedback becomes more far between. But no, this group, this community, so dedicated, on top of their stuff, and we even have more people joining up. It seems.
Yeah, that's right. We got brand new Fallout participants coming in from wherever, and we welcome you all. So thanks everybody. So tonight we have feedback from Jeremy. Now this is Jeremy Quantum as opposed to original Jeremy. So this is Jeremy Quantum is here. Jeremy's actually offering up two feedbacks tonight. We got two from Lee. We're going to hear from Leon. We're going to hear from Sarah, who is not only a new feedback participant, she is, I believe, a new Fallout player.
She just started playing Fallout 4 for the first time. She's never heard the podcast before, but she loves a Skyrim addict, and she's obsessed with Skyrim. And she's been avoiding Fallout for the longest time, but then all of a sudden, just for some reason last weekend, she put in Fallout 4 and then played for like 20 hours straight.
The scales have fallen from our eyes. She's had her Damascene moment and has seen the light that is the nuclear glow of Fallout. Sarah, welcome. Welcome to Fallout Land. Welcome to the Wasteland. Glad to have you. We're going to hear from Paul. We're going to hear from Ray. We got another episode of King of the Bunker Hill. And then we'll have a couple of our usual features. And then we'll also talk a little bit about next week's show when we're going to pick our next round of quests. So we got a lot of good content tonight. So I'm really excited to hear from everybody.
Well, what do you want to start with tonight, Pat?
Before we jump in, you doing all right? Things going okay there in Indiana?
And Indiana is great. We're beautiful weather, mid 60s, so like early summer, spring type of weather. We're flying kites. We're going out and having fun with the kids and stuff. And then all of a sudden, like tomorrow and Saturday, it's gonna be 95.
Yeah. Same thing. East Coast, it's gonna jump from like a absolutely perfect afternoon today, a high of 71 or whatever, and then we're gonna, I think on Sunday or Monday, it's just gonna rip right up to the 90s. So it's summertime. It's supposed to be nice and nice and hot. Summer's kicking in with a vengeance.
Time to get the talcum ball powder out. Oh God, it's miserable. I don't know how you feel, Pat, if you're a summer guy. I know some people just really they embrace that heat, that oppressive stuff. I just cannot do it. Anything above 65 degrees, and I'm just if I'm at a swimming pool in the water, then 85 degrees is fine. But as soon as I get out of that water, I want it to be 65 degrees again.
See, so I'm one of those people. For me, I'm one of those people who kind of likes the change of season. Like by the time the season changes, I'm ready for it. Like now, I grew up in South Carolina, lived for a number of years there after when I was working, and that just gets too hot. Like it gets to be like 100, at least in Columbia, in the middle of the state.
I have cousins in Georgia and Florida, and I went to visit them in Florida in like Christmas time, and I was still miserable.
Yeah. That's too crazy. But like around here, where it gets like most days, it's highs in the 90s. I'm actually ready for it to be hot. To go out and go to a baseball game, go to a soccer game, sit out under the fan on the patio and just kind of enjoy that. And then when you get to the end of the summer and the seasons are about to change, I'm ready for it to be cool. So I like that change of season.
Do you have a lawn boy?
We have a lawn service. Yeah. We have the place we live on has quite a bit of grass and it's more that we want to tackle.
That's one thing I just despise about the summers, having to take care of my lawn when it's like.
Well, see, my lovely spouse is she is very much into gardening, so she takes care of all the pretty parts of the yard, and then the lawn service comes and chops it up, and periodically they'll run over some of her flowers just because they don't pay attention. So
That's the worst.
Yeah, that's the pits.
I need to find a neighborhood boy to mow my grass for.
That's the ticket. Yeah, we share service with a neighbor, so it works out okay.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So well, summer is here. I think Michael said he was maybe gonna slow play the Skyrim Addict Let's Play a little bit, the Skyrim Let's Play a little bit, but I think he's still posting episodes. So I'm not sure if he's gonna take a complete outright break or whatever. But while we're talking about our brethren over on the Skyrim Addict show, maybe this is a good point before we get into the feedback to mention we have a really special event that we're going to get to take part in coming up July 16th.
July 16th, 2017.
And what's happening on that date, Andrew?
The Philadelphia Podcast Festival.
Yeah, very excited. We're going to do, Michael got us entered into that, and we're going to do a joint Skyrim Addict Fallout feed show, and I'm sure we will have a moment to mention the other shows in the network. Michael and I and Victor's coming in. And Andrew's got his tickets. So excited here for the meetup.
Totally gonna come out to Philly that weekend.
Yeah. So check it out. I think Ray is coming up from Point South,
from Georgia.
So if anybody has opportunity to be in Philadelphia on July 16th, we are going to be at Tattooed Moms. It's a little bar on South Street. I think we're recording at either 5 or 6 o'clock. We're kind of maybe middle of the program, and there's stuff all weekend. So if you have a chance, if you live nearby or can get in for the weekend, you'll come into Philly. Great place to visit. Lots of podcast action going on that weekend.
Do you know, is there a general fee admission thing? Because I know there are fees for specific shows, but I don't think there's a general admission fee, right?
That is, I think it's free. Yeah, Michael said that the hours at Tattooed Moms is free. It's it's a smaller venue. I think there's maybe a couple of specific shows.
You don't have to get like a festival bracelet or anything.
No. I think you just show up at the venue and grab a seat and settle in and listen to some good podcast action. I mean, certainly this will be the first time I've been at this a lot shorter time than you guys, you and Victor and Michael. But I don't know. I think this is the first time really kind of any other group has gotten together.
Well, I know that Michael met Sherry at San Diego Comic-Con a couple years ago when the group first started, like a couple years back. So I
don't know. Michael knows a number of sort of general podcasting. Illuminati, but
he does podcast meetups with other podcast groups that he used to be part of, and those podcasts don't really exist anymore. But he meets up with those people and stuff. So
he was. I actually am not. I'll have to find out from him when I meet him in person. But I listened to a bunch of Lost podcasts back in the day, and he knows all the Lost podcast people that I know virtually, and so I was a big consumer of Lost podcasts back in the day.
Specifically, Jay and Jack is the one he was involved with their community the most, I believe, right?
Yeah, and then there's also Jay and Jack were and they're still doing a bunch of other shows. And there was Ryan and Jen Ozawa out in Hawaii who I think they were the real kind of king and queen of Lost Pod. Jay and Jack were terrific as well, but Ryan and Jen were the real king and queen of Lost podcasting, in my opinion.
I only really listened to Jay and Jack. I never expanded much.
If you, I'm sure like most things, it's probably still alive. If you ever get nostalgic and want to pick up the Lost, the Lost podcasting, but they took a break for maybe one or they were very, very intense first early on, and then I think toward the latter part, I think they took a break, maybe one season or a partial break, and then they slowed the pace, but they were active all the way through the run of that show.
Did you enjoy through the end of the show enough to do rewatches of Lost and stuff? Is it still a valuable series to you?
It is one that I remember extremely fondly, and I did not harsh on the last season like a lot of people did, and I think some of the hours of that show are among there's 4 or 5 episodes of that show that are among sort of best ever television. I think the show itself is it's certainly top 20, maybe even top 10 shows ever for me. It's definitely in the top 20, maybe top 10. And there are episodes that are top certainly episodes that are top 10 episodes.
I definitely feel like the seasons, rose and fell like a sine wave or something. But the Hatch season blows my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know why, Pat. The sci-fi aspect of that Hatch. It just
you're talking about the season when they found the Hatch, season 2.
Yeah.
When they found it.
There's the numbers, there's this,
yeah,
and just all the crazy shit down in that hatch. And then like, what is this mysterious company? And that shit is amazing. That really tickled my spots in the right location. But then
absolutely,
season 3 they started introducing the others, and I'm like, who gives a shit?
Well, I think the you had the Benjamin Linus character, that played by Michael Emerson, which that character was amazing. But I think the others, they kind of came and went a little bit. Yeah.
My phrase that I like to harp on is that Daniel Faraday ruins it all. Comes in, brings in the time traveling aspect, and then the show just goes to shit.
Yeah.
I'm not like literally starts sucking, but like it just goes crazy.
I was pretty okay with the very, very end, but I agree with you that kind of season 5 kind of thing. I think it was 5.
It's official. We're starting a Lost rewatch.
Oh my God, geez, that's an investment. So I think I'd rather do the Twin Peaks and follow it up with a rewatch of the new Twin Peaks. I think
it's so thick. You don't know how many times I've like watched 15 minutes and been like, what the fuck did I just see? And I have to rewind it 15 minutes and watch the 15 minutes.
See, with the thing with Twin Peaks, you just got to power through that shit. Just don't feel like you do not.
I feel like I'm missing stuff. Do I not need
that's okay. Just power through it, and maybe it certainly is worth a rewatch. But don't do remember, Twin Peaks was from the era of people had VCRs, but there was hardly any internet.
Yeah.
There was like AOL, like literally AOL was it. Or CompuServe or whatever. But there's not the kind of internet stuff we have now. Wasn't DVRing people. There was still appointment television. And people, there were a few people who time shifted with VCRs, or other people who saved things with VCRs, but it was not like today. So you think about Twin Peaks and frankly even Lost for that matter, even though it was a newer show. I mean, they were still in the era where there's appointment TV, and of course, Lost was getting in the era where there was Twitter and stuff, but you'd have, it was in the early days of people like, I'm turning off my computer, I'm watching Lost for the next hour, And of course, Twin Peaks was before any of that, So think about just like watching it like you don't have a DVR. Power through it.
My absolute favorite part of Twin Peaks is Agent Cooper's theme music.
The music for that show is so. I still listen to that music today. I love that music from the show.
This guy is a 1940s like dragnet detective guy.
That's right.
So silly.
Yeah, love it.
The cheese factor is actually really appealing for some reason. I don't know.
That's where you and I were trading notes about David Lynch. Some of his stuff is just weird, but his best stuff is the stuff like Twin Peaks or Blue Velvet that kind of overlays sort of a weird Americana on top of the Lynchian weirdness, and that's where I think he's really at his best.
Yeah, this is my first exposure whatsoever to Lynch. I'm more of a Pee Wee Herman type of guy.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for Pee Wee. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, it's a curveball, but Mo and I have been watching Pee Wee's Playhouse, and I watched Big Adventure not too long ago, and Big Top, and I'm just like, God, he was great.
Yeah. I've never seen Big Top, but Big Adventure's a lot of fun.
People rail on it, but it's still hilarious. It's great stuff. Oh man, so 15 minutes of
this is the record short. So with those sidebars out of the way, so shall we jump into a round of some of our feedback?
Yeah. Would you like to do King of the Bunker Hill first, or feedback, or what do you want to do there, Pat?
Let's save King of the Bunker Hill and maybe have that as a palate cleanser. But let's do a feedback or two, and then we'll jump into the King of the Bunker Hill.
So let's pull up Jeremy's first one here. Let's see if I can scroll down there just a little bit, pull that up, and say hi to Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy.
Hello, Roundtable. This is Jeremy McDaniel from the Commonwealth, calling in for a character update of Michelle Briggs. My character, Michelle, is at level 25 currently. Her strength is at 6. And her heavy gunner perk for that is at 2. Her perception is at 7, and her perk demo expert is at 2. Endurance is at 4 with a lead belly of 2. Charisma is at 6 with cap collector. I haven't put any there. Intelligence is at 6 with robotics and expert, and I haven't put any in that as well. Agility is at 3 and sneak is at 3. And my luck is at 5 and better criticals I haven't started. I think I have to get luck to 6. So that's the level Michelle's at currently. And just a reminder, her settlement was Grey Garden, her romance was Piper, Faction Railroad, and yeah. So I guess I'll get into my narrative. I think I left off with her just entering Diamond City for her first time. Let's see, oops, find my place. So I just left the bordello and I was coming upon Diamond City, entering the old home of the beloved Red Sox tracks as she came across a striking young woman. A confidence emanated from her, and Michelle was taken by her presence and physical beauty. Her name was Piper. She was a journalist and was being barred out of the city because of her craft. Michelle was compelled to help. Freedom of speech and freedom of the press was a cause she could get behind. After some sweet talking the guards, they easily opened up the gates and they were in. Michelle and Piper hit it off quickly. She was a much needed breath of fresh air, and like Michelle, she was a truth-seeking woman demanding justice and humanity in a world of deprivation and violence. Piper did this with the pen while Michelle was learning to do it with her gun. Piper asked Michelle for an interview and if she could tag along with her on her adventures. Without hesitation, Michelle obliged. She was inspired by Piper and felt an attraction toward her. So together they went to seek adventure and spread their common goal of redeeming the wasteland. Traversing the wasteland, they encountered many interesting people and places, and there was never a shortage of something in need. Their travels took them to Park Street Station, where they rescued a friendly synth detective named Nick Valentine. Entering Good Neighbor for her first time, Michelle met and helped a 200-year-old ghoul named Audrey to attempt to unite her family and retrieve her inheritance. Then there was Fort Hagen, where they had tracked Kellogg and found some startling new information regarding Sean and the Institute, bringing back questions Michelle had been working to put to rest. Maybe Sean was still out there, and she should be looking for him. There was so much Michelle was still trying to understand and process in this new world, but by keeping busy and helping others, she was beginning to form a new identity and a new worldview to guide her decisions in the wasteland. Michelle's new mission could be described as follows. Number 1, to survive. She was working to gain a resistance to rads by eating radiated food in small amounts, to develop a tolerance. She's working to leverage large explosive and heavy weapons to accommodate the lack of gun training, and also to learn and practice sneaking techniques to avoid conflict whenever possible. Number 2, to serve as a humanitarian. Michelle sought justice for those who were oppressed, lift the weak, give to the needy, and help her fellow man. The Minutemen movement and a unified network of settlements were a manifestation of this sentiment. Serve as a synthetic activist. She sought to lift Gen 3 synthetics to equal rights status and to fight and to protect their civil liberties. Valentine had left a big mark on Michelle and evoked a progressive sentiment to all advanced synths. However, Michelle was still wary of the Institute and early Gen synth. They were an unsovereign rogue state in her eyes and enslavers of synths. And fourth, and finally, Michelle sought to build a new family. Michelle had fallen for Piper, and while on the surface, Piper was tenacious and strong, and she had even escaped death on more than one occasion. But as Piper opened up to Michelle, she saw her softness. Like her affections and simultaneous fears for her little sister Nat, and the way that she would refer to Michelle as Blue, and her optimistic lens on life that there was still something worth fighting for in the wasteland. Having shared in their experiences and opening up to one another, they finally confessed their affections for one another, and it was a romantic scene. It was a romantic scene in Fort Hagen, literally minutes before Michelle blew the living shit out of Kellogg with a missile, followed by a nuke grenade, for good measure. Piper had the utmost affinity for Michelle, and their love was consummated shortly after back at Sanctuary Hills. Waking the next morning, refreshed and smitten in love, Michelle turned on the radio to hear a distress signal she was receiving on her Pip-Boy. It was the voice of a little girl crying for help, and she was trapped in Belcher's cave. Michelle and Piper and Dogmeat quickly got ready and headed out to provide as much assistance as they could. Michelle should have known it was a trap. What little girl in her right mind would go exploring in this wasteland, let alone go deep in a cave? And how did she have the wherewithal to bring a radio transmitter to broadcast in an emergency? And do you even have a radio signal in a cave? And even with all these warning signs, Michelle's moral fiber wouldn't allow her to not go and try and help. Venturing into the cave, Michelle and her party quickly found themselves surrounded by a raider gang. Their leader, Black-Eyed Bobby, looked like a modern-day Heath Ledger, the Joker version. He was impressed by Michelle's demeanor for some reason. Perhaps her travels had imprinted a determined grit in her resting face. He offered to spare Michelle if she would work for him and earn her keep. He wasn't your everyday raider. He wasn't all rape and pillage. He believed in leading and putting able bodies to work, even giving them a hand up. Michelle, although appreciating his progressive flavor of raiderism, refused to give in to the demands of the raiders, and thus refused to work with Black-Eyed Bobby. She braced for a firefight and her likely demise, but it didn't come. Perhaps he was in a good mood, or maybe it was the recent stint of no radiated rain, but whatever the reason, Black-Eyed Bobby went back on his word and spared Michelle. He said to return if she had a change of heart. She was an able body and he wanted to put her to work. Michelle walked back to the cave entrance unscathed, but she began to wonder maybe Black-Eyed Bobby could help her as much as she could help him. After all, the man showed incredible mercy by sparing her, and although they were a raider outfit, they really resembled something close to the settlements Michelle and Preston had been developing. Perhaps with some work, she would make an ally of Bobby's gang and serve as an ambassador or liaison for the Minutemen. With a new diplomatic endeavor in mind, Michelle marched back into the cave to see what she could work out with Black-Eyed Bobby. He had some jobs for Michelle to prove herself capable of their crew, and first she was sent to a nearby federal ration station to take care of, quotes, take care of, a target named Kane, who was held up there. After sniping the turrets and blowing up the raiders on the outside, Michelle fought through the station and came upon her target, Kane, who was locked in a cell. Turns out he was a prisoner and not a leader of the raider gang held up there. Kane was quite an ugly ghoul, and he knew Michelle was probably there to kill him, but he suggested she instead escort him to the person who sent her. He claimed he wouldn't run, and Michelle was confident she and Piper could take him if he got aggressive or made a run for it. Michelle elected to spare Kane and take him back to Black-Eyed Bobby and let him decide his fate. It was his task anyway, and the blood would be on his hands. Kane was cooperative and easily went with them back to Belcher's cave. It turns out that Kane was Black-Eyed Bobby's brother, and he was pleased Michelle returned him alive. It was another able body he could put to work. Michelle went around the cavernous hideout and met the characters. She really liked the old bartender Gran, and perhaps this raider relationship would work out after all. Talking with Bobby, he had a new task for Michelle. There were some chems dealers who owed Bobby's gang some money and wanted Michelle and company to go and collect their debts. Although there was a stipulation. Michelle needed to hold up the dealers in specific disguises in order to ensure they were instilled with enough fear and would pay their debt in full. Chem dealer Fred in Good Neighbor required a ghoul mask, while Jared in Diamond City would require a Diamond City Guard armored outfit. Although this mission pressed Michelle's moral envelope, she decided she was up to it in hopes that the moral risk would reap a political reward. The holdup of Fred and Goodneighbor was easy, as Bobby had provided a ghoul mask back at Belcher's Cave. Donning the mask in a mechanic jumpsuit, Michelle stuck up Fred, and without firing a shot, he paid up his debt. The holdup in Diamond City was another story. Michelle didn't have a Diamond City guard uniform and would have to find a way to acquire one in order to pull off the heist. Strategically leaving Piper at the public occurrences to spend time with her little sister Nat, Michelle headed into the market to fashion a silencer for a 10mm pistol at the weapons bench there. Piper would not like what Michelle was about to do. Slipping into the Diamond City security, Michelle found a lone guard having a sit in the barracks. Completely alone, Michelle closed the door and snuck behind the oblivious guard. It took 2 shots to the head, and that armor was Michelle's. And hastily, Michelle put the armor on and walked out of the Diamond City security into the alley, where she ran into her target, Jared. As easily as Fred, Jared surrendered the money he owed, and Michelle grabbed Piper and sped to Belcher's Cave. Michelle was sick with herself over how she killed the innocent guard in cold blood. She'd hoped that gaining this ally in Black-Eyed Bobby would be able to save and help many lives in the future, but this didn't ease Michelle's internal moral dilemma. Having a drink with Gran helped, and Michelle returned to a pleased Black-Eyed Bobby, who then told Michelle to talk to Spitball for more work. It would have to wait, however, for Michelle had plans to return to Goodneighbor, to Dr. Amari, who she heard was able to extract Kellogg's memories in her memory den. General Briggs then marched eastward from Belcher's Cave. Minutes. All right, that's long enough. So that's where Michelle's at. Really enjoyed the Tails quest there at Belcher's Cave. As you saw, kind of had a moral dilemma for my RP of Michelle, but I tried to work it in. Yeah, you guys appreciate it, and talk to you guys later with another update.
Great. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for checking in with us. Super good. Good feedback.
Yeah, couple things. He talked about using a nuker grenade on Kellogg. That's what I chose to use this time too.
That's good.
I usually try to like take him most of the way down before he has time to use his stealth boy and start pumping himself full of stim packs.
Yeah, he likes to pump those things and disappear on you real quick.
Yeah. And then he mentioned the heavy gunner perk.
Hello, Fallout Ron.
Yeah, it's have you ever used the heavy gunner perk, Andrew?
Sorry, I keep accidentally hitting play on that thing. Heavy gunner perk was assigned either season 1 or 2.
So you've had it. Okay, you've had it assigned. Yeah,
I have used it before, and I think eventually it got really interesting, but I did not enjoy them at first because I could never find enough ammunition. I don't.
Yeah, that's I'd say same issue. I think I've taken it once, and not on a round table, but I took it, and it's there's a couple of them that are pretty. I like the Gatling laser and the cryolator are both pretty fun.
I was just about to say it was frustrating because I kept trying to use the missile launcher and the minigun the whole time, and I kept running out of ammo of each.
Yeah.
But the whole game I had been collecting fusion cores, but I hadn't used the Gatling laser the whole game. So eventually, when I got up higher in level, I was just like, "Oh wait, I have all these fusion cores. Oh wait, here's a Gatling. Okay, now I can see that it's fun.
Yeah.
Tons of ammo and I'm just mowing through shit. And
with if you want to use the minigun, you can find enough 5mm because you can pick up 500 for Macac at the USF Olivia. You pick up 500 or like 800 from the machine gun in Concord, and that one is relatively more common to buy. So you can if you like that gun, you can get the ammo. But I don't like the gun; it's too slow.
Yeah,
but the Gatling laser has the slow spin time, but once it gets going, it just fires. It's crazy fast. And then the cryolator, I don't remember if it's slow or medium, but it just feels like it's a lot faster especially when you do the upgrade. The upgrade that turns in, instead of a freeze ray, it turns in sort of like a little freeze pellet that shoots out, and sort of explodes. That is a lot of. Although the ammo for Cryolator is terribly rare.
Yeah, is there a source where we can buy it?
It will show up. It will show up randomly, and I think you can buy it, from this usual arms merchants, but it's rare. I don't know. That's definitely one you would want to find a good source of ammo before you committed yourself to a big Cryolator playthrough.
Yeah, I don't know that I've used it other than just a couple of times.
Yeah.
I always heard that there was that small time when dog meat could fetch it for you.
Yeah.
Before they patched that. I think that was in the first big patch they did.
Yeah, and I that doesn't bother me because you can get master lockpick it's like level 17 or 8. You can get it pretty early. And I like having master lockpick because I like that feeling of being able to kind of get through all the locks. So I will usually take master lockpick even if it's not an assigned perk.
Yeah, it helps you get places, that's for darn sure. And
yep.
And everything helps a lot.
All right, so Jeremy, thanks for that good feedback from your adventures with Piper and crazy whacked out raider gangs.
Oh, that's good stuff. Let's well, it was her first time in the game, so I think it might be fun to check in with Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah, thanks for writing in. Let's take it away.
Yeah. And I did have just one couple of quick thoughts. I thought it was funny how he got in and out of the cave and then had to go back in. I like how he wrote that into his role play over.
Yeah.
Cave. That's too.
Oh yeah. So, yeah. You said, as soon as you said that reminded me of one other thing. I'm sorry. Did you have something else?
No. I liked his description of Piper.
Yeah. That was, and then I just pointed out you talked about having to kill a Diamond City guard. I actually took advantage. There's that super mutant Diamond City guard fight that usually gets set off your first trip into Diamond City. If you come to Diamond City from the north across the bridge and past Hangman's Alley, there is usually a guard super mutant fight happening off to your right as you're going south to Diamond City. And there's usually going to be a Diamond City guard killed over there. So I was able to grab a uniform from that dead guard in that area. Didn't have to kill anybody.
Yeah, I think I had to lure some mongrels in closer to Diamond City for a fight, and eventually an alpha albino something or other glowing mongrel killed the guard after I kept telling my followers to go away and quit shooting that.
Yeah. You're right. On the south side of Diamond City, that junkyard, you're a good call. That's another good way to get a dead guard.
Yeah, I had to kite him all the way back though.
You kited him all the way back the long way. Oh, okay.
No, I mean it wasn't very far, but there was like a group of them, and I had to keep dragging them down the block a little bit, so like before the guard would come out too, because he kind of walks back and forth or whatever. So yeah, sweet. I've got Sarah's feedback pulled up here, so we'll go ahead. Sarah, that's awesome. I know you haven't heard the podcast ever, and if you listen to Pat's playthrough, his let's play as we're doing this, and you go straight through the show, you won't be hearing this for a year at least, right? If you power through.
I wouldn't recommend starting with the let's play.
If she starts at just the beginning of our feed and goes straight through, how long will it take her to catch up to right now?
This was 77. So this is when you do 77. Is that counting? That's not counting round tables, or is it counting round tables?
That is not counting round table, of which there are 24.
All right. So it's a regular show, a little over 100. My let's play, I just posted 68.
68. Okay.
68.
Yeah, so we're about at 170 episodes deep. So good luck with that.
Yeah. But actually, that's Andrew, I am remiss for not having done this at the very top of the show. Congratulations to you for the 2-year anniversary of the show.
Well, I wasn't even on the show when it began, really.
But you've been on it since almost the beginning, though, right?
I don't remember if Kara and I took over about episode maybe late 20s, early 30s somewhere, and then you and Denny were very shortly after that episode. I think 37 was when you and Denny both hopped on. I think you guys had your first appearances on the same episode, actually.
Really? Oh, well, I was thinking the first time I did was feedback. Whatever. Yeah. But anyway, congratulations to Michael for kicking it off, and Andrew for you to being in the early co-host, and great work to have this show with such terrific longevity.
2 years anniversary. That's great. And I don't know how many active Fallout podcasts are there out there still. There's the Vault 97 still going.
You got Aaron's doing Mind Fog. It's still active. That's the three I know about that are active.
Is there like a Fallout? You know how they have like the Elder Scrolls story books, you know?
The Skyrim book club.
Is there any like Fallout terminal book club? You know?
No, I don't. Yeah, that's what you'd have to do with Fallout. You'd have to read terminal entries, and it's not quite the same level of depth that you get in the Skyrim book club.
God, that might be fun though. I don't know. I'm gonna be into that. That's fun. All right.
All right. Let's jump in. Let's hear from Sarah.
Sarah, thanks so much for writing in.
Hi guys, this is Sarah out in sunny California, and I'm here to give you Fallout 4 feedback from somebody who's literally never played any Fallout game ever. So enjoy. This is going to be all over the place because I'm on my lunch break at work, and I didn't bring any of my notes that I had. So good luck getting through this. And I do want to tell you a little bit about kind of where I come from. I really like role-playing games. I really like immersive games. I like games with good stories. Zelda will always be my first love. Also Final Fantasy. Played some Star Wars Galaxies and some of the Old Republic back in the day, which was fun as well. My husband is definitely more of the gamer. I am a mother, and I have another baby on the way, and so I get to play late at night when everyone's asleep. So between that and work, I just try and fit it in where I can. About a year ago, I started Skyrim, and I really fell in love, and that was at the behest of my husband. I had tried it a few times, and I never really gotten into it. And somehow I don't know, this last time it really hooked me. So found the podcast and love what you guys are doing on the podcast. And so my husband was like, why don't you just start a character on Fallout 4, see how it goes? And at the time I was like, I'm still doing Skyrim. I'm not really sure. I don't know if I'm going to like this. And then all of a sudden I look up and it's like 3:00 in the morning and I've been playing for hours. So I have a feeling I'm really going to love this game. I feel like I've barely scratched the surface, and I'm excited to let you guys know what my initial thoughts are. So we'll start with my character. Her name is Flora. I went through, all of the beginning stages, and I will tell you that the storyline of having a baby stolen, not great for a pregnant lady to play, but that's okay. It was all right. I ate some ice cream afterwards. I was a little emotional, but it's okay. I tend to play as two-handed with heavy armor, so this is interesting for me because I don't see that as an option with my character right now. I am kind of forcing myself to play more strategically, and I'm trying to be sneakier, if that makes sense, because that's really what's working for me in the game so far. So what I did is I set my stats like this. Strength 5, Perception 5, Agility 5, Charisma 4, Intelligence 4, and then everything else I just gave onesies and twosies to. I believe Luck I only put as a 1, because I don't know what that does yet. Hopefully, maybe you guys can tell me. So I went in to Commonwealth, killed the Raiders, met the Minutemen. I got the cool power armor, killed the Rancor looking dude. I can't remember what he's called. That was fun because if he hits you twice, you die. So I used Dogmeat, who I met on the way, kind of to aggro him. He would like run around the corner, and then Dogmeat would go and kind of make him angry. He'd come back out, and I would run into a building and shoot him from the building because I didn't want him to hit me. It took me a really long time, but I was able to finally take him down. After that, I went back to Sanctuary, and they immediately sent me out to help another group that needed help clearing out a warehouse of raiders. That warehouse was a bitch, you guys. Seriously, I took Codsworth with me. And pretty much every time I took 2 steps into that stupid building, I would die. So what I eventually did was I just sprinted my way down to the bottom of the warehouse, found myself a little corridor. There's like an elevator there and some stairs, and just waited for them to come one by one and shot them one by one. It took me forever, but I made it. And then I also was able to hack into the computer and get the cool little robot guy to go out and kill some peeps for me, which was awesome. And then I just took out the turrets same way, just kind of like sneaking around and trying to kill them where I could. Once I finally figured out the VAT system, I was a lot happier. So I figured out VATs like halfway through that, and it made life a lot easier. After that, I kind of wandered around a bit because I really enjoy checking out worlds and talking to people and gathering quests and that kind of fun stuff. And I heard the distress call and ended up starting the Brotherhood of Steel quest. I'm assuming it's a quest line because he asked me to join. I'm not sure how I feel about them yet, so I just kind of left them hanging. I took the cool gun that he gave me and ran, so I haven't decided what I'm going to do with them yet. I headed back to Sanctuary and I started building up my town, which I love. It's like having SimCity like right in the middle of the game. That is right up my alley. I also really love especially in Skyrim, I love crafting, I love enchanting, and I love alchemy. So once I figured out that I could mod weapons and I could make chems and do things in this game, I was like all about it. So I'm really excited to get into that. And I noticed there's some cool perks in the, we call it a perk tree, I don't know, in the perk area, in the Pip-Boy, that I can't wait to play with. So after that, I went to Diamond City. I met Piper, who I'll be honest, I think is kind of annoying. Spoke to the little sister, went to the detective's office, and I saved Nick, who is a synth. Still figuring out this whole synth storyline. I'm interested to learn a little bit more about that. And because I am a bull in a china shop, I killed everyone in there. So there was an option to try and make them be friends, and I just gave up and killed everybody because it's just easier that way. So I did that, and now right now I'm back in Sanctuary building things up again, and I'm putting up a little beacon so I can get some people in my town because I'm really excited about doing that. So my initial thoughts, I purposely didn't listen to your Fallout 4 podcast yet because I'm not sure how the podcast operates, and I don't know, I haven't listened to anything you guys have said yet, and I wanted to give you kind of like a clean, adulterated feedback of what I think after being in Skyrim for so long. And I love it. I really love it. I love the VAT system. That's really cool. I will say that the Pip-Boy drives me insane. I just don't understand how to work that thing. I'm getting better with more time. And once I figured out how to change the stupid ass colors, because I hate that green color, it's at least easier to look at. I really like the perk system so far. I really appreciate it. I don't have to grind as much. I can kind of like get XP and then spend it where I want. I've actually been spending it in my perception because I know that helps me a lot with the VATs, and a little bit in my charisma and my agility. I'm still very low level, so I haven't played a whole lot with the perks yet. I'm kind of saving a few of them up too. So when I decide kind of where I want to go and how I want to play, I can go spend a bunch at once. But mostly I've just been wandering and discovering places because that's what I like to do in these games. So I really hope that this was helpful, and I'd love to keep doing it for you guys. And the more I play, I know I'm just going to love it even more. I'm kind of sad because I can only play one game right now, and I'm kind of cheating on Skyrim, but I think I'm going to let that go for a little while and see where Fallout takes me. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening, and I can't wait to fall into the podcast. Talk to you soon.
You know what? Skyrim is a progressive lady. She's really cool with you just kind of
that's right,
going out and having a good time. As you know, just don't throw it back in her face. And she's really cool with whatever.
Yeah, that's right. There's room for both. So Sarah is all over the game already. She's like picking up on a lot of the the sort of the fundamentals really fast. Which I know for when I was in 3, I just sort of like didn't know what the hell I was doing for a long time.
I find it took me multiple attempts to break through into Skyrim, and only because I'm super familiar with Skyrim did I understand Fallout at all. Like, it's not the same, but it is a great introduction. Like if you understand how Skyrim works, it's a lot easier to break the ice of Fallout. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she is blowing me away, like with how much she's accomplished with how little time that she's spent it. Like it's amazing how many of the things that she's done, and I like her observations of the crafting and the enchanting, the alchemy is like sort of or the smithing. You know, that's sort of like a, you know, we've got your own version of the armor and the weaponry and the chems and that sort of thing. And
yeah, I mean, she could go, and you can definitely go. You can definitely go heavy armor 2-handed in Fallout if you have a mind to. You can get the sturdy combat armor and the sledgehammer or the baseball bat. You know, you can definitely go 2-handed.
Well, no, I wouldn't even go power, or I wouldn't even go combat armor. I go power armor. Like, had she played in the power armor, that is the iconic image of the game.
Yeah, true, but it's a lot. It's a lot of maintenance. Right, you got to find fusion cores. You got to keep your power armor repaired. You know,
remember Pat? She said she likes the crafting aspect.
That's true. Good point. And she clearly, yeah.
The power armor is a tedious aspect, yet it is rewarding if you like that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think it's a little tricky. Again, definitely agree. I like periodically going into power armor. I never kind of go all in or all away from power armor, but it does require kind of some balancing, right? Because you have to work on your science and your armor, right? So you have to get your intelligence up. It can be tricky, kind of getting the balance of perks to really bump up your power armor.
That's another thing we have to discuss is special builds. Like she just kind of went sort of a flat line across, it seems, and with sort of right down the middle with most of them. She said she enjoyed VATS though, so I will before Pat chimes in, I will say if you like VATS. I don't know how other people play it, but I really love VATS, so that always means that I jack up my perception and agility, because that means your perception gives you better accuracy and your agility gives you more shots within the meter. So that gives you more accuracy and more shots per clip, basically, if that makes any sense. So that's a VATS build. Pat likes other kind of like melee builds and stuff like that you've done in the past. You've done ballistic builds. You've done all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've done some of everything. Blitz build. Blitz is where you want to do for Blitz. The best combo for Blitz is strength and agility, because you have to have high agility to get Blitz. And then if you do rooted, which gives you bonuses for standing still, Blitz doesn't treat you as having moved, even though you sort of like jump from like far away,
teleport across the damn
exactly, you can like teleport across a room or like up a stair or whatever. It still gives you credit for the rooted bonus. So that's a good combo. Blitz and rooted.
That's if you're a melee enthusiast. And if you want to do your 2-handed heavy armor, like Pat mentioned earlier, your combat armor is great armor that you can acquire fairly early on after level 10 or so. I believe it starts coming around.
Yeah.
And then
and then just
super sledge. Where do you get a super sledge early? I don't know if it comes early on.
Good point. Early you get pool cue or baseball bat if you want to do 2-handed.
Two-handed, yeah. But if you just want to go simple melee, you cannot beat looking up this little location called Dunwich Borers and jumping down a tunnel at the end of that quest. If you find Dunwich Borers, you'll be rewarded with it's one-handed, I grant you, but it is a great melee weapon, one of the best in the game. So I will give you that hint, Sarah. Go on the search for that.
Yeah, and that's and Sarah, I think the thing you'll so when what I did for Skyrim, and of course you're a Skyrim veteran, so this but think about this. What I did for when I was doing my first Skyrim playthrough during the roundtable, what I did is I went back and listened to all the back episodes of Skyrimatic, but I skipped the roundtables because I didn't want to have the quest lines,
the walkthroughs.
I didn't want to have those spoil for me. So that may be something if you go back, if you get an urge to, and you want to go back and listen to the back catalog, if you skip the roundtables, it's probably like episode, you guys were spoiling before I got on, but just barely. So you'll get 20, or you'll probably get 30, 35, maybe 40 episodes in before the spoilers start. The gang was pretty careful about not spoiling early on. So another show Another terrific show. If you're a podcast fan and you have a lot of podcast listening opportunities, definitely go out and check out Fallout Off the Record, hosted by a great friend of this show, Shalene and Rick. Shalene's got a new show, Katie Radio, that's currently live. Fallout Off the Record is unfortunately not broadcasting anymore, but that was a terrific show. The great thing about Fallout Off the Record is they always have a really good lore corner that talks about some of the stuff from the earlier games. And you might if you get into the story, the back sounds like you do. You might enjoy listening to Off the Record just because they had to do such a good job with the lore.
Yeah, can't recommend it any more highly.
Yeah. And while we're on our, the other, there's Aaron's Mind Fog.
Yep.
All one word, Mind Fog, which is an in-universe role play podcast. Terrific production quality, story quality there. And then of course there's our friends over at Westfault Radio at vault97.com, which is another in-universe terrific kind of black humor of the adventures of Susan in her vault.
Oh yes. Just a couple more notes on Sarah, the Rancor.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
But also I was amazed at how quickly she figured out. I mean, it sounded like she was able to take it down without a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
I still have trouble with that damn thing.
Denny's trick that I wasn't smart enough to figure out, where he ducks into that building. Yeah. Where the Deathclaw can't reach it.
Yeah, there's that, and there's also a couple places where you can get a balcony. There's that when you first come into town, there's a building that's got a balcony on a corner, so you can see the Deathclaw on two different streets. So that's I do that a lot. And then the other thing I do is I will often try to lay down a couple of frag mines, or if I get lucky and have one with me, a bottle cap mine, which usually will not kill it outright, but that'll often cripple a leg, so it's not as mobile. So you sweep the leg with the bottle cap mine.
That's amazing. I just recently, I don't know if I'd ever seen a Deathclaw with a crippled limb before. I just saw that for the first time just the other day.
Yeah, that's a good trick. Yeah, I do that with the minigun sometimes. Sometimes if I get lucky, I can bats out the leg with a minigun, and then it makes it easier to take it down.
And I had the Wasteland Whisperer perk, and he started following us immediately afterwards. He was jumping around following us. It was really kind of fun. That was great.
Oh, only you, Andrew, would wander the wasteland with a crippled Deathclaw.
He also mentioned joining, taking the weapon, and maybe she didn't want to join the Minutemen. It seemed like joining a faction type thing. Go ahead and join the Minutemen because they are the only faction worth joining, and they're the best people to play with in the game. I also agree with you. Sanctuary building is fun, like SimCity. That's pretty incredible. A lot of people don't give a crap about the building, but I'm with you there, sister. I really like it a lot. Anything else? Notice she doesn't like the Pit-Boy. You'll get used to it. I hated the Pit-Boy at first too, and changing the color from that green, I changed mine to just pure white. It improves it 100-fold.
I usually do a different Pit-Boy color every time I play the game, just to mix things up. And I have this sort of light peach that's kind of my current favorite.
Sorry I keep coming back, but she had so many great points in her feedback. Thank you so much again for your feedback here, Sarah. But last but not least, maybe the best point she made in the whole damn thing was that she just sort of offhandedly mentioned that she likes the leveling up system because she doesn't have to grind. And I thought about that for a second. I was like, wait a second, what do you mean you don't have to grind? I was like, oh yeah, you get experience, and then you can just put it on whatever perk you want. She's right. You don't have to sit there and make leather daggers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Iron daggers over, just sit there and grind. And I was like, oh God, that is a great point. You just level up as you go.
Yeah.
I didn't like the leveling system of Fallout when I first started playing because I was like, well, that's bullshit. It's just you have to kill stuff, you just get experience. Just build, you just get experience. So I want it in specific. I want to be able to level up my big gun by using my big gun. You know what I mean? But when it wasn't that way, I kind of got over it. But I didn't like it at first. But she is smart. She realized that. Oh wait, that is better.
Yeah, and the Fallout system is more common, where you earn experience and level up by doing quests and killing things. That's more common than the doing by using method of Skyrim. So that for me, Skyrim, that was a fun change of pace. I kind of enjoyed it.
It is cool. But
but you can grind, as we know in Fallout. It is an option. If you want to burn through levels, and your poison caltrops is your friend. If you want to burn levels,
you build stack of rubber mats in order to start your survival mode game. You just go right ahead and do that.
Poison caltrops, so much better.
Rubber mats, Pat. Come on. All right. So thank you again, Sarah, for checking in, and we'll go ahead and see Lee's first entry of the evening. Lee, thank you so much, brother, for checking in. He is a current and always stalwart play-along participant, and sometimes participant on the show even. So let's check in with Lee.
Hi, Fallout Feed guys and gals. This is Lee Benjamin. This is my feedback for Season 2, Session 2, or is it Season 3? We'll never know. Anyway, I'm doing the quest open season. As I'm an anti-raider player, my character, Bethany, you may recall, is anti-raider. Pro Brotherhood of Steel, mainly because she's supposed to be romancing Dance. So she thought, what better way to get on Dance's good side than go to Nuka World and just kill everybody. Well, maybe not everybody, but all them they're raider guys. So went back to Nuka World. Talked to somebody called Mackenzie Bridgman, and who told me that they had been there about a year, then that the pack, these are the factions, the pack like strength, the operators like money, and the disciples like blood. The Nuketown Market is where I found Mackenzie Bridgman, and after I talked to her for a few minutes, I got a quest to go out and take care of the factions. She wanted me to kill Nisha, Mags, and I can't read my own writing. Anyway, everybody. Turns out Mackenzie was from a Western settlement, and the first of the operator locations I reached was called the Parlor. Appears to be an old dinner's theater or something. And this is where the operators hang out. Well, after I talked to them enough to make sure I knew who was there, it was Mags and her brother. And it was a pretty tough fight. I wound up using most everything I had. I'd put out some mines, which seemed to mysteriously not go off when they were still friendly. And I end up using missiles and a nuke and my trusty old FNP90. So I then was able to kill Lizzie and William Black and Mags Black. And because of the intensity and them coming right at me, I wound up with the three of them in a pile at my feet. And everyone else in there, I had to go ahead and take care of them too. So I then kind of regrouped and got ready to go outside, where I walked into a big mess. Managed to die, and found that using the P90 wasn't really my best option out there. After I went through this again, I started using my Recon Advanced 10mm because of one of the attributes of Bethany is the I can't think of it. Gunslinger. Excuse me, Gunslinger perk. So it turns out that helps a lot because you can get lots of shots off and do a lot of damage. So I started plinking away at them and trying to keep Dance alive while I was doing it. That pistol turns out to have 55 damage the way I've got it fixed up at the moment. Went through the first area there, Stimpack Dance, and then went back to the parlor. And as we were on our way back to the parlor, the disciples jumped us, so we had to take care of some of them. So in the parlor, I was hoping to repair my power armor, but there wasn't anywhere to do it there. I went and read Lizzie's terminal, and there was lots of stuff in the chem station, it turned out. And I ended up using the chem station as a way to, a place to store stuff, since there wasn't any actual workbench in there. So, stored stuff there so I could, I may have fast traveled and gone and fixed my power armor. Came back to Nuka World. Went to check out the Braberton Amphitheater. It turns out the pack is there. And there was a lot of battling there. Oh yeah, and Mason, in fact, came out to meet Dance and me, so I didn't have to look for Mason. And so after I had finished the amphitheater there, taking out all the people I could find, or that were opposing me anyway, I didn't go very deep into it. Then I started looking for Nisha, who was the excuse me, the disciples head of the disciples, and he's like way outside the park. So I stored stuff again and went outside where Nuka World, where the gunners were, and started taking the long road to the south and west. It's kind of funny, in that walk I noticed there was a sell sign in the middle of nowhere. So whatever it was that was for sale was not obvious. Came across some new creatures, cave crickets. Found 2 APCs that had lots of stuff and ammo in them. Found a drum and diner. No, it wasn't a drum and diner. It was a gas station. No, it was a gas station and a drum and diner. Turned out it was a hubologist camp. Dara Hubble was the leader, and hubologists seek mental powers and inner peace, for which they apparently need spacesuits from the galactic zone. So that starts up a side quest, Trip to the Stars, which I wasn't going to pursue right at the moment. But managed to negotiate, and if I got 5 of them, I'll get 250 caps. So we'll see how that goes later. Well, the hubologists decided that they were going to make their camp on the site of the world's largest fire hydrant. This freaking thing's 30 feet tall. Tried to keep an eye out for the world's largest dog, but I didn't happen to see any around. Back on the road, found an infected rad rat, pup, found some silt beans, came across a rad scorpion and a rad scorpion hunter. Rad scorpions was albino, and I actually found a couple of those. They were pretty tough, but I was able to take them down a bit at long range and then finish them off when they got closer. Of course, doing that, I managed to back into some more cave crickets and found something called bloodworms, which, yes, do look oddly like the sandworms from Dune, with the multi-part mouths that open in a triangle form.
They're graboids.
Long carrots. And some more silt beans. The road started to turn north, and I came across a kind of a small town that had a warehouse and some ruins. Turns out this was the Nuka World junkyard. So I started looking through the junkyard, see what I could find, and lo and behold, a Nukatron Guardian found me. He had some kind of strange ranged weapon because it threw something that looked like light blue droplets of radioactive death. But, that's fairly normal for Fallout, right? Once I dispatched him, I found out he had 5.56 ammo, so I don't know what he was treating it with, but it sure looked weird coming in. Probably coated with a failed Nuka-Cola flavor. I also found something called a Mr. Frothy, which was like a Mr. Handy, only painted up for Nuka World. Made it into the warehouse, and I found another Mr. Frothy, a power armor station, and a workbench. Maybe it was the power armor was the workbench. Anyway, found a broken hoop shot game, and a game called Kami Whacker, but it was out of order. Excuse me. Kami Whacker was like a hammer that went with a game of the same name. Medium speed hammer with 22 damage. So, melee guys, have at. There's also a weapons workbench, an armor workbench, a power station with a fusion core in it. Found a porta diner that gave me a perfectly preserved pie. I don't know if that's always there, but I got it. Perfectly preserved pie is good for 30 hit points, by the way. There's a Kodiak bear statue, which I was very wary of, but it turned out it was just an inanimate statue. Ran across another robot called a Nukatron Guardian. And on his front screen, he had Nuka-Cola ad running. He was in a charging tube, and I couldn't hack it. But it turned out I had passed from level, I think, 29 to 30, or excuse me, further than that. It was like, 38 to 39. So I was pretty well prepared. So I went ahead and did Hacker 1, and that was enough for me to get in there and start working on it. And when I went to use the terminal for it, I got stuck and I couldn't move, so I ended up having to reload and come back again. Came in from a different angle, or maybe I took my armor off. I think I took my armor off. So then I hacked the terminal and failed. I had to figure out what to do for a few to be able to try again. So I posed in a ride car, took a picture, tried again, failed again. Went upstairs, came across an animatronic alien that was all kinds of hostile. So I had to kind of get rid of him. And I could see that he had already killed off some raiders, and they had a sleeping bag there. So if somebody needed a sleeping bag, they'd be able to find one up here. Found a copy of a magazine called Scav, plus 25% combat knife and switchblade damage. Here again, melee guys, take note. Found something called a power distributor and a star core. I understand there's going to be something to do with star cores later on, so picked that up. And went back, and I was able to activate the Protectron type guy, Nuka-Cola Guardian. And went into the junkyard, found some more robots, some more mole rats, and an Annihilator Sentry Bot Mark III. Best taken out at range, guys. He's a nasty one. Out in the junkyard too, I found something that looked like and turned out to be the ultimate UFO, but it was inaccessible. So it was nice to look at, though. Found ants and fever blossoms, and the tale continues.
Hey, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Lee, for checking in. Immediately off the top of my head, of course, Lee has to walk in and kill everyone in Nuka World. A lot of people's, your role play based in what your objectives are supposed to be in the Commonwealth, Pat. It really kind of contradicts if you go into Nuka World and all of a sudden they're doing all these favors for fucking raiders.
Yeah.
So that is kind of a weird juxtaposition that you have to explain out somehow in your role play if you're going to do that. Or you can just have an intentionally evil character and play it that way.
Yeah. What my rationale for my not roundtable character who was very advanced when and had done things with he had done he did the Brotherhood quest line, but then also had done a lot with the Minutemen, and Preston was very disappointed that he was helping the Raiders. But once the Raiders started saying you have to take over Commonwealth settlements, that's when he decided just to kill all the Raiders. Because I figured the rationale for him is like, well, as long as the Raiders were just kind of like killing bloodworms and ants and crap like that, he wasn't too bothered about it. But as soon as it involved going back in the Commonwealth and undoing all his good works, then he was not having any of that. So
yeah, of course not. Why would he?
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't make any sense. So and I think I've seen online like some of the Reddit posts or videos on YouTube about people that are doing things in weird orders, like becoming overboss before you even ever meet Preston, and you get some interesting dialogue and stuff like that. So I think that's there's stuff like that like go do Nuka World and finish the game and then go rescue Preston and see what happens, and just never know. They build in some funny dialogue for stuff like that.
That's interesting. So when they do the DLC, do they call back the voice actor of Preston, be like, hey, we need you to cut a few more lines?
Must have, or they pre-recorded or whatever, because he definitely has stuff that reacts to not everybody, but Preston definitely has stuff that reacts to Nuka World. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, there's stuff like Nick has a lot. Nick has a ton of dialogue in Far Harbor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they totally wrote in a lot of Nick in the Far Harbor. They really. If anyone out there still hasn't done Far Harbor, I highly recommend it. There was just that big sale this past weekend, so hopefully people picked up the DLCs if you hadn't yet and took advantage of that huge sale that they just had. But if you haven't done Far Harbor yet, take Nick with you. It just really fleshes out the story a lot more, and it's really nice. It has a lot of synth story there too. Where was that perfectly preserved pie that he was bringing up?
There's one in It's not in the shit. What's the thing that you have in the Bobrovs in the Dugout Inn in Diamond City?
It's not in the Edo.
That's a Dinotron or something. And then there's the Edo-matics, and there's one spot I think where there's an Edo-matic that gives you a perfectly preserved pie in Nuka World, and it's guaranteed.
I found that one, and you called me out for being a lazy cheater.
Well, no, I was giving you grief. You get your perfectly preserved pie where you can get and there's actually, it's surprising. Like today, I was all right. So I have to tell a stupid tale on myself. I was nostalgic for unmodded vanilla survival, so I started up a vanilla survival game on my PC. And actually, I decided. So we know from both Laura and Shalene that both of them always play a character that has their own name. Like, so Laura's first character is Laura, and Shalene has a character Shalene. I've never done that ever in any game ever. I've been playing video games for 40 years of a one striper, and I've never named a character. So I'm going to do. So I made a Pat. I made a Pat character, and so I'm taking Pat through the wasteland of vanilla survival. Not doing anything else, but just vanilla survival. And for the first time today, just organically, I wasn't looking for it. It just I stumbled onto for the first time ever, the sewer entrance into Corvega. I knew it was there. I'd never looked for it. And I happened to be farting around Lexington, and I kind of went in on the other side of Corvega than I usually do. It's like, oh shit, here's the sewer entrance.
Yeah.
I was having such a good time. It was the first time I'd ever done it that way.
Corvega, I think that was the warehouse that Sarah was talking about.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because there's a Protectron and Jared and yada yada yada. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've been running around and I was having the hardest time in Corvega. I think I was even bitching to you in the chat.
Oh yeah, did you ever find him?
Yeah, I did. There's an elevator and I kept going left, but there's stairs that turn up and go off to the right. I just kept not seeing you know that thing, Pat, where they say you're not supposed to proofread your own paper because your own mistakes. You just don't notice things that you're not seeing. You know what I mean? Like I just was not seeing the stairs that go up.
But the elevator and the stairs go to the same place.
But I didn't even take the elevator. I kept going down the hallway and going down the stairs.
Oh, I get it. You were okay. Right.
Find them, but I just
I get it. Yeah,
my mind was just like those don't exist for some reason.
So Corvega has got those multiple. It's got the basement area where there's the ghouls, and that's where the sewer tunnel comes in. It's got the big open area that you go into if you go in through the upper level. It's got like the office area, and then it's got that. So it's got all these different areas, and I for the longest time had a hard time. I would get stuck in the big. There's the big open area with the catwalks and the raider beds at the bottom, down the floor level and everything. And after a long time, we get stuck there, and I couldn't find the connection that takes you into the office part, which is where you need to go into the factory floor. Yeah. So I know what you. I had the hardest time, and then I eventually kind of realized I just need to do it a different way.
No, but I'm impressed, Sarah, again, that you pounded through Corvega and all that sort of stuff already. That's great.
It's a death claw for me, man. Anybody can figure out the death claw that fast is a natural at this game.
Good. She's must be a good gamer. Awesome. Good job. Lee was getting his perfectly preserved pie. He said it's worth 50 HP. Who on earth would eat a preserved?
Was my reaction to it. Like, you eat the perfectly preserved pie? That's the point, is not to eat it. You should put it on display. You build a shrine to it.
That's great. Oh, the pie. Good stuff, Lee. Thanks so much for writing in. What was that? Scav magazine he mentioned with the knives and switchblades do an extra 25% damage. That is not insignificant.
No, there's a lot of stuff in Nuka World that's kind of OP. Like the throat slicer weapon and that crazy baseball bat you get from Cito. There's quite, and I think it's in-game stuff, right? It's in-game. It's you don't go there till level 30, and so it's just intentionally in-game. But yeah, there's some really OP stuff there.
So is the Scav magazine a series, and does it benefit a different weapon category each time?
It does different stuff. It's like Grognak all does your melee weapons. Tumblers today does your lockpick, blah blah blah. But the Scav does different things depending on which one you grab.
Yeah, that's what I imagine, because there's no way they would let you increase 100% by collecting magazines.
Crazy. Yeah.
Just through magazines, what is the highest you can increase any particular skill?
Let's see.
Like
limb damage. Massachusetts Surgical Journal gives you 2% to limb damage. I think there's 5 of them, 10. I'm not sure, because some of them, like for example, covert ops. There's 10 of those, but I don't know exactly what the percent. I don't know that it's necessarily disclosed exactly what the percentage is.
Episode.
Yeah.
Issue.
Yeah.
How about guns and bullets? Isn't that 5%?
I think that's 5 per, but there maybe only be like 5 of them.
There's only 5. Okay.
Yeah. There's different numbers. Like some of the magazines have 10, some have a smaller number.
Yeah.
Like there's, I think, only 2 tattoos today or 3 tattoos today, which are of course just those are just visuals anyway.
And we need to start our Star Core checklist, I guess. Already we're running across them. Where did Lee find his Star Core there?
I missed where he found it.
We need to start our checklist, because we need to have a community wide thing going here, so we can when Ray gets around to it, we need to be able to have our locations down, so we can have that mod made. Ray, get that. We need that mod for locate the stones of barren star cores.
Yeah, so there's so I looked. There's 5 Scav magazines. that do different things.
Different things.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. And then there's no, there actually are 10 guns and bullets. So that gives you
5% per.
Yeah, so that's actually plus fit. That's pretty good. But I did not. That you're right. It's 5%. So you can actually get plus 50% crit damage if you grab all the guns and bullets. That's pretty strong.
That's not just for pistols. Is that also comes?
That's crit damage.
Right?
I think. Well, let's see. No, ballistic weapons. Ballistic weapons.
So that's rifles and pistols.
Yeah, not
But
energy.
not energy.
And I don't think it covers heavy weapons. But I think rifles and
that is worth looking up all 10 locations and going and finding those.
Yeah, the Mass Surgical Journal is nine of those.
Yeah, Surgical Journal is great if you are doing a VATS build. Note, Sarah, that because you can do extra arm and leg damage, right?
Mm-hmm. Limb, yeah, any limb damage, yeah.
Yeah, so as long as you don't do your head or their body, you know, basically just blow arms off and people die that way.
Yeah, and then you also there's also other effects, like there's the is it Wastelander's Friend that does limb damage that you get from Deb and Bunker Hill. So like if you want to, and that's something, Sarah, you know this from Skyrim, but just something always worth keeping in mind is you want to min-max your player. You want to find a set of skills and get really good at those skills. That's the way to kind of sort of own the game maximally. There's actually I have in my head an idea that I may do for my next New Vegas player is try to do a jack of all trades build where I intentionally don't min max, like take my specials like all equal and get all my progress my specials and my skills and everything all equally. I think that might be kind of fun just to try an explicitly non-min-max character. Yeah.
I made that mistake because that was also my instinct, Sarah. Not that it's a mistake. Sorry, I don't mean to phrase it like that. But my instinct to start the game was like, okay, I'm going to make the most even character I can so I can increase all my levels like sort of at the same time and have a gradual increase of a character. Well, again, that's not a mistake to do that, but I found that I prefer to do what Pat was just saying, do like just have a few different categories be 10s and the rest be 2s and 3s. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's and a lot. There's a lot of games that are the same way, but I think it's different from like traditional role playing games where it doesn't necessarily benefit you as much to min max. But I think in Fallout and maybe, I don't know, Skyrim maybe less so than Fallout because there's I know when I was in my Skyrim playthrough for the round table, I found it was less. I found it had less desire to min max because of the way because you could if you didn't mind grinding, you could get all your skills up, or a lot of skills up. I didn't do literally every skill, but I ground alchemy and enchanting and blah 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 blah, and you can get quite a few skills if you have the patience to grind.
Yeah,
patience and time. Yeah, that's
patience, time, and if you enjoy the art of crafting, that's a great way to do that.
Yeah.
So great. Thanks a lot for your feedback there, Lee. I think that's been a great sort of introduction to our first half of the feedback. I think we need sort of like a halftime intermission or something here, Pat. A little palate cleanser, a little refresher break. What do you say?
Yeah, that sounds good. You want to jump into to our next episode of our favorite game show?
Yes, sir. This is we're getting down to the wire here. This will be the 6th episode of King of the Bunker Hill. I don't believe anyone has been running away. I think we've only had a maximum of people with 2 of the vinyl mini mystery figures. That's basically the whole thing is here. If anyone's just checking in for the first time, we're doing sort of like a round robin tournament, single elimination, where each time you win, we have 10 contestants from our Facebook community who are competing in this trivia contest. Each time you win, you get a vinyl mini mystery figure that I picked up at our local box store on clearance. So I thought it would be fun to have a fun little getaway trivia game. So here we go with King of the Bunker Hill. Live from Vault 97, it's the King of the Bunker Hill Quiz Show Challenge. It's the show where contestants compete to come back week after week to see who can collect the most Funko Mystery Minifigures. Brought to you by the Fallout Feed and ASA Podcasting. And now, your host, Susan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and ghouls. Welcome to the show that exists to find out who is the wittiest and the wisest in all of the wasteland. It is, of course, time for King of the Bunker Hill. Today, we have with me returning champion, Ray. How are you doing? Excellent. And we have a new challenger, as always, and that new challenger is Craig. Craig, how are you doing?
I am great. How are you?
I am excellent. Thank you very much for asking. And how do you feel being here this evening?
I feel pretty good.
Well, Craig, I've got your application form here, and it turns out it says you were the person who designed Preston Garvey's waistcoat. Obviously, we all know Preston Garvey, our Minuteman. I would say general, but that's not right. But Preston Garvey, we all know him. He knows about settlements and stuff. So and he has a very fancy waistcoat, and I've seen his waistcoat, and I think it's quite fantastic. So Craig, you designed that. How did that come about?
Well, it was kind of a collaboration between Preston and myself. He kind of sent me all over the place to find different designs, and then he chose which one he liked the best.
Okay.
He tends to like to send people out to do things. But
yeah,
that's okay.
I bet. Was it just a farm you found that design from, or just sort of a random sort of like drive-in theater that maybe he thought he might get some inspiration from? Where exactly? Where did you think you found that design? Because it's pretty funky, I have to say.
There was an abandoned clothing designer downtown.
Of course there was. Yeah. Oh, excellent. And did you do sort of the embroidery yourself, or was that something you found and just brought it back to him? I mean, how did that work? Did you engrave did you weave the ballistic fibers in yourself, or was that sort of again a collaboration?
Well, once we got everything together, I did most of the work. Well, the robots did most of the work, but
they're handy.
Yeah, you know how that goes.
Yeah, I do very much so. Well, that's excellent. So, well, thank you very much, Craig. Okay, brilliant. Well, Craig, as you are today's challenger, you get to go first in the rounds. So, how are you feeling about that? Are you ready to go? Are you pumped? Are you awesome?
Yes, I'm ready.
In that case, Ray, you know the drill by now. Can you please step over there into my soundproof booth and put the special soundproof headphones on, and just give me a signal when you're ready to go. Okay, he is giving me a signal. He's ready to go. All right, Craig, it's just you and me now. So here we go. Get ready. Strap in.
Okay.
Question 1. What date did the Great War occur?
Oh, it was 2077, October 24th, 2077.
It's I'll be honest, you're very, very close. It's if you listen to our show, you can. It's the one time of the year you get to listen to the horror of Vault 66. So yeah, if you can remember that.
It's not October 31st, is it?
It's not. You were really close the first time.
Final answer, October 27th.
Definitely, that is incorrect. I don't know if I can give you a half mark. It was 27, but it was October the 23rd, 2077. I'm afraid. So it says, I know everyone thinks it's Halloween, but it wasn't. It was just before Halloween, which is what makes it so tragic. But we do celebrate it every year here at Vault 97 with our Halloween special. So, but never mind. Let's move on. Question 2. How was the protagonist referred to in the original Fallout?
The original Fallout. The Chosen One?
Not quite right. So if you've had, you've had what, Soul Survivor and Lone Wanderer. Any other thoughts? Any other names that you think you've heard of people being called?
I thought it was the Chosen One, but I'm apparently wrong. No, I can't think of it.
That is incorrect. According to my answer sheet, the protagonist as the Vault Dweller.
Ow.
Just Vault Dweller.
I was going to say that, and I didn't think it was right. I guess I should.
Just say what you feel. That's always the best thing. Just let it all out. Okay, never mind. Question 3. The noodle-serving robot Takahashi in the Diamond City Market is a reference to what classic sci-fi movie?
I'm not sure, so I'm just going to say The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, because I didn't realize he was an actual reference to anything.
Okay, that's all right. The correct answer, I'm afraid that is incorrect. The correct answer is Blade Runner.
I haven't seen Blade Runner.
Never mind. Okay, let's move on. Question 4. Which magazine series provides various benefits to your followers in Fallout 4?
Is that Live and Love?
That is correct. It is indeed Live and Love. Well done. We are 1 for 4. Let's get on to question 5. Okay. What metaphoric beverage does Strong, the super mutant, companion seek?
The milk of human kindness.
Yes, that is correct. Well done. Okay. We've got 2 out of 5. This is awesome. Let's do the tiebreaker, though, because the tiebreakers are super, super fun. Right. So, again, I don't expect you to get the exact answer, but I do think you might. Actually, no, you probably won't. This is an insane question. Okay. Right. Including DLCs, how many varying ranks of feral ghouls are found in Fallout 4?
I'm just going to say 20.
20. Okay. All right. That is good. All right. That's it. I can't tell you the answers now, but you got 2 out of 5. So now we are going to get Ray back in the room, and he's going to get the opportunity to defend his title. So, Andrew Bott, can you please get Ray back in for us, please?
Beep, boop, boop.
Recovered from the booth?
Indeed.
Okay, excellent. All right. Well, that was a tough round, but Craig did very well. So it is now your turn to defend your title. So are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. Question 1. What date did the Great War occur?
October 23rd, 2077.
Oh, blimey, that is correct. Well done. Excellent stuff. You've clearly been listening to my Halloween special. Okay. Question 2. How was the protagonist referred to in the original Fallout? It's so we've had Lone Wanderer and Soul Survivor in other games. What would you think?
Vault Dweller.
Vault Dweller is correct. Well done. You are 2 for 2. Okay. Question 3. The noodle-serving robot Takahashi in the Diamond City Market is a reference to what classic sci-fi movie?
Lost in Space.
Final answer?
I have no idea.
Okay. I'm afraid that is incorrect. The correct answer is Blade Runner. I guess it's a reference to the fact that they are very paranoid about synths and synthetic people, I suppose. Okay, question 4.
It's the noodles.
Which magazine series provides various benefits to your followers in Fallout 4? Which magazine series provides various benefits to your followers in Fallout 4?
Live and Love.
That is correct. Well done. We are 3 for 4. Okay, question 5. What metaphoric beverage does Strong the Super Mutant Companion seek?
The Milk of Human Kindness.
That is correct. Okay, brilliant. You've got 4 out of 5 in that round. But we're not done yet. We are going to give you a tiebreaker question. So here we go. Once again, I don't expect you to get the exact answer, but in the event of a tiebreak, the winner will be the one who gets closest. So, including DLCs, how many varying ranks of feral ghouls are found in Fallout 4?
Yeah. 12.
Okay. All right. Well, I can tell you the correct answer is 14.
Oh.
There are 14 levels. So you were astoundingly close. So we had Craig. He went for 20, which is again pretty darn close as well. So you both gave it a fantastic effort. But I have to say the winner of this round is Ray. Ray, you are once again the defending champion with 4 out of 5 correct. Craig, you scored 2 out of 5 correct. But excellent effort. It was a tough round again. And Ray, you have, this is probably your best round to date. You've been absolutely fantastic. But Craig, you are once again excellent competitor. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it was a great effort. I'm really, really happy to have had you on the show, and it's been fantastic learning about all your activities and the like. So, but Ray, once again, you have you are victorious. So what's that? 3 weeks, 3 shows in a row now. We've got you. So
thank you.
Yeah. So that's a nice little collection of little minifigures you're going to be getting there. I hope you've cleared some space in your settlement for them. And I have no idea who we're facing next, but I'm sure my faithful robots will find someone for that. But thanks again, but once again, you guys, you've been absolutely amazing. It has been an excellent show that has been brought to you by the Fallout Feed and ASA Podcasting. We wouldn't be anywhere without them, because they provide the prizes. So that is it. That is all from me this week. Once again, thank you guys, and everyone stay safe out there in the wasteland.
Thank you for listening to this edition of the King of the Bunker Hill Quiz Show Challenge, brought to you by the Fallout Feed and ASA Podcasting. Join Susan next time to see who will win the coveted Funko Mystery Minifigures and be crowned King of the Bunker Hill. Amazing.
Yay!
I think Ray is going to clean house, man. He's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, no, he's on a roll here. That's 3 in a row, right?
Yeah, I believe that's 3.
Yeah.
I believe 3.
Yeah.
Pat, we can quickly go through it. Did you nail 5 out of 5? I would assume you got all 5 out of this.
I did not know the exact date. I knew it was before Halloween. So I was guessing the 28th rather than the 23rd. So I did not get the date of the war.
I was thinking, if anything, you might have missed the protagonist's name in Fallout 1 because I knew you hadn't played that one.
Yeah,
right?
it's Vault Dweller, and it's Vault Dweller, and then in Fallout New Vegas, Marcus the Super Mutant refers to the protagonist of Fallout 2 as the Tribal, but I think actually I think actually Craig. I think the Chosen One. I think is the official name for Fallout 2.
Craig.
Craig and Craig. No, Craig in our episode. Craig said the Chosen One as his answer for the. But I believe that's actually the answer for Fallout 2.
I thought you meant just in Fallout 2,
No.
the protagonist was known as Craig.
Could be Craig. No, you could. No, I believe Craig as his answer. I think he gave the answer for Fallout 2.
Sorry, I was just being dumb over here.
And then so I missed the date, but then I got the other 4. So I got the Vault Dweller and the Blade Runner. And
was I misleading by saying classic sci-fi? I thought.
Oh no, Blade Runner is quite classic. I mean, it's a modern classic, but no, 100,000,000% classic.
Modern classic because they both guessed like 1950s sci-fi.
Well,
movies.
so they both had, I think they were both guessing the robot, right? Because didn't one of them say the day the Earth stood still?
Yes.
And then what did Ray say? He didn't say. Craig said day the Earth stood still. What was?
I don't even remember. But
was it? Because Forbidden Planet is the sci-fi movie where the Robbie the robot that looks like the Protectron showed up.
You remember the Black Hole, the Disney movie?
I have never seen that. I mean, I remember that when it came out, it was panned, but I never saw it.
I have a thermos from the Black Hole lunchbox set.
Nice. I used to have a Planet of the Apes drinking cup that I used in college for years and years. So I got Blade Runner, got Live and Love, got Milk of Human Kindness. Ray actually beat me on the tiebreaker. I guess 17. So he was.
What was the
14 was the answer. 14 was the ghouls. Those how many different types of ghouls. He guessed 12. I guessed 17. The answer is 14. So he actually beat me on the tiebreaker.
17. Did you? Now, when you come up with that answer, do you try to make a tally in your head real quick? Like you get up to you got roamers and reavers and stalkers and glowing ones and withered and basic feral. So you got about 8 or 9, and I was assuming that you had about 12 in the base game, and then added a couple for Nuka World and a couple for Far Harbor. So and then you get all the painted and fog variations.
Yeah, and see the reason, and I kind of like when you had the ammo question a couple episodes ago, like that number's like 30 or something, right? There's a shit ton of ammo, so I kind of rounded up just under the assumption I was forgetting something, but yeah. So that's I wasn't terribly far off at 17, but Ray squeaked in there with 12. Now you're not doing Price is Right rules, are you? With the
no, it's just whoever's literally
Closer,
closest.
okay.
I don't do the without going over because if you do the without going over that promotes the bidding one or above the person next to you bullshit.
Or bidding $1 if you think everybody else. That's the two ways, right? And I agree. I think those are I think for a game like Price is Right where you're specifically guessing prices, maybe you could argue, but I think for other games it doesn't make sense.
That's no right. Great. So that's awesome. We actually need to record some more of those. So we'll go back to the stomping ground. There are, I think, maybe 3 or 4 more people in the Facebook group who originally signed up a bunch of weeks ago, but I will be contacting you soon, and we will get you guys on the schedule, and we'll contact Susan down in Vault 97 if she'll pick up her. How does she communicate? How does she reach out? Was she has some sort of?
I think she's got a radio beacon of some sort. I think maybe Mr. W keeps a radio.
There's like a new 2-way radio, so I'll use my ham radio to connect with Susan.
But she may have one of those beacon things, that you raise up when you type in the terminal. It raises up and it improves your reception. She may have one of those.
Yeah. I think we were talking in the group once. What happens when you raise all of those?
Nothing. Yeah, I think each one will enable some radio signals unique to that one, but it doesn't do anything special when all 5 or 6 or however many of them are up, which is too bad because that would be actually kind of a cool thing to do.
Yep, it would be. So where are we, Pat? We were going to do another.
I think we're going to hear from Leon, and then maybe work towards a wrap up after that. And I think you're going to tack on a few more at the end of the show as well.
Yeah, I was going to do a few more. We have a few more feedbacks to check in with, but we'll let Pat sign off here after we do a quick check in with Leon and Denny's podcast or Podcatcher Correspondence Corner here. So thanks for writing in, Leon.
G'day, this is Leon from Texas playing my roundtable character Olivia, going from episode 2 into episode 3. Heading to Kitty Kingdom, Olivia was surprised to hear a voice over the loudspeakers taunting her. When the sprayers turned on, Olivia was never happier to be in her leaded XO1 power armor. It took some work clearing out tunnels and a super annoying funhouse, but she eventually met the ghoul wizard in the theater and then atop the roof of the castle. Having been stuck in Nuka World since the war, he was under the impression feral ghouls could be cured and that his girlfriend would one day be back with the cure. Olivia informed him his lady was dead. She had found her remains in a holotape in the nearby town. This convinced him to stop fighting Olivia, and she then assigned Kitty Kingdom to the operators again. Confusingly, he said he was leaving the park, but Red Eye over the Pit Boy later stated Olivia had hired him. Either way. Deciding to hit Dry Rock Gulch next, Olivia found it infested with bloodworms. They popped out of the ground and had a nest in the mine. Just yuck. She decided this would be a good place to give to the disciples. Taking a break, she headed back to the Commonwealth, zapped to the Institute to take a bath, then did a few missions for the gang leaders, collaring and killing. Since she got close one time, she went ahead and cleared out the old library. Olivia was surprised the super mutants wanted into the library. Can they even read? She discounted Virgil since she was special. At the end of this, Olivia is level 55. She took a perk in Endurance and Aqua Girl. She's mainly using Righteous Authority and an auto shotgun with plus 50 radiation damage. She has Deliver and Throat Slitter as backups and for bugs and ghouls. Overall, I'm really digging the leaded jetpack power armor. That made Kitty Kingdom a breeze considering what I had to go through the first time I went through it. And this time it was just a total difference. Having the jetpack and the leaded for the radiation sprayers was just really awesome. And then I know some people don't like fast traveling for roleplay, but for me, I'm playing an Institute playthrough, and I figure that it kind of makes sense since they have the molecular transporter, then might as well use it. So anyways, overall, having a good time with this playthrough. The power armor is really a different style, and so I think after this character, I may wind up doing just a Brotherhood of Steel playthrough and just stay in power armor pretty much the entire game. Might be an interesting take, but that's for the future.
I want to save you really quickly, Leon, and say they have different paint jobs other than Brotherhood of Steel. There is a Minuteman paint job out there. You don't got to just because you want to wear power armor doesn't mean you got to sell your soul to the devil.
Yeah, there's some good paint jobs out there. My favorite is still the green Vim.
Oh, that's good
one that you get in Far Harbor.
The I just forgot what they called the 50 sock hop roadster guys down
Adam
there.
Cats.
The Adam Cats paint job is pretty sweet with the flames.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. I like the Minuteman one personally a lot, but that's just because I'm biased. But yeah, there's lots of different cool paint jobs. You don't gotta just because you like power armor doesn't mean you gotta play Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Feel free if you want to. I know I'm not going to discourage you. All right, so Pat, let's go ahead and. Sorry, did you have any thoughts about Leon's? Leon was a pretty quick trip through there.
Good hearing his update. Sounds like I did notice the one thing I picked up on was he's carrying a few different weapon types, and he mentioned a couple different weapons for like ghouls and bugs and things. Which I do that sometimes too. Like if I'm doing like a relatively bigger, slower gun, I'll sometimes carry a pistol. Or sometimes even like just a melee weapon, like a switchblade or something for rad roaches and things like that. That's a good call too, because a big heavy weapon, and unless you're like deep into the game and you're like late game and you've got like Big Leagues 4 where you can hit multiple opponents with one swipe, that's another way to do it. But
yeah,
that's late game tech. But yeah, early game. Like just your basic 10 mil from the vault. I mean, that's a perfectly, give that a couple upgrades. It's a great thing to use against rad roaches.
Well, I actually jotted down a weapon he mentioned as well, Pat. I like the auto shotgun with the plus 50 rad damage. Those are the type of things. pick up and use.
Yeah, the rad damage, the explosive damage, the poisoning damage, the wounding. If you pick up a legendary with those effects, those are all just terrific. Wounding is especially good on a fast weapon because every slug or every hit will because the wounding effect stacks.
Like like Pikmin's blade or whatever that's called.
Yep, Pikmin's blade. Yep.
Good stuff. Thanks a lot for checking in, Lee. Also, one more thought here. You had leaded jetpack power armor. Jetpack. I've never actually gotten that far. That's something that I've never done in the game was get the power armor.
You should do that. It's a lot of fun.
I've never played with the jetpack at all ever, and he's. I know that Ted Finch used to love to. He would build all these crazy things because he would get in his jetpack armor and just be able to build vertically like skyscrapers and stuff. Like he would incorporate it into his building. So that's another aspect of the game I've never experienced that I should really explore.
I don't use it for building, but I do like the jetpack because it's just fun just to get places that you can't normally get. It's.
And I never the leaded aspect. I didn't even remember that would increase your rad resistance as well. So that
if you go full leaded with every piece, I think your rad resistance. It's because I think it's is it 1200 or 8? I forget. It's like 8 or 1200 just with any power armor, and then you add the leaded, and it may double it. It's just amazing how much you get with leaded.
You're getting that less than one symbol.
Yeah.
Also, fast travel. Feel no shame, Leon. Fast travel is the way to go.
Yeah, fully. I mean, it's I think we've talked about it on the show here. I think for like the roundtable, if you're trying to kind of keep up with the live show schedule, you're literally on a schedule. You got about you got time. You got 3 weeks, but sometimes if I got business travel, you got kids and a family and a long commute. Just different people have time limits and the not fast traveling is a lot of fun because it adds to the RP experience. It's certainly a great way to explore the map. But when you got quests to get done, then sometimes you just need to fast travel. So nobody should feel shame about it. But now for me, like here's actually something I don't know that we've ever talked about this. For me, I don't think of fast traveling as teleporting. I think of fast traveling as your character knows the roads and the shortcuts from one place to the other, and he or she is able to get from point A to point B safely because he knows the territory. I don't think of it as some kind of magical teleportation that really does kind of take you out of the game. I just think of it as like the shortcuts because you've been there before.
Well, there are a few differences. He says he is playing as an Institute character, but see, Leon, with the Institute, if you were actually using their technology, you would be instantaneously zapped from one location to the other. Well, when you're doing your fast travel, your Pip-Boy clock is actually traveling, and it's accounting for the time.
Yeah.
If you were in survival mode, you would be hungry and thirsty by the time you showed up. Like, the passage of time actually occurs when you fast travel from one place to another. I'm sure you probably have figured that out already. So there are slight differences, but I just thought I would mention that really quickly. I'm sure you figured that out, Leon. But yeah, so those are all great points and another awesome feedback. Keep the feedback coming, Leon. That's great.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, Pat, we had another little intermission we wanted to check in with our normal segment, Denny's Podcatcher Corner. It's our sort of new normal segment we're trying to get into. And Denny is, of course, the host of the segment and has not yet one under his belt. So, Pat, let's take it away. All
right. Thank you. So we got this time we're grabbing a review, another one of our very kind and thoughtful 5-star reviews from a friend of the show, Kevinick. It's K-E, it's like Kevin IC. So Kevinick, don't know if that's a name or a nickname or whatever. But anyway, feedback from Kevinick is as follows. Hey, keep up the good work with an awesome show and great community in the Facebook group. And again, that was a 5-star review from the iTunes site. So thanks for dropping us that very kind and thoughtful review. If you guys haven't taken time to give the show a review, we do appreciate it. If you give us reviews, there's like the magic of iTunes algorithms. Better ratings, you mean the show's more likely to turn up on searches and everything else. So we do appreciate each and every review we get, and certainly want to do these occasional shout outs just to thank people for taking time to write us up.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for just taking a few seconds to let us know what you think. That's great. And we're reading the crappy ones too. We've read a few bad reviews.
Yeah, we're lucky enough. We got a couple, and I hope that maybe one of these days, one of those guys who left us a sort of a negative review will take time to listen to the show and realize that we're still trying to hang in there, maybe trying to address some of the issues. So we hope people are still enjoying the show even after 2+ years.
Fairly unlikely, but
you never know. So yeah, actually, Andrew. So maybe here in terms of real time, it's about time for me to sign off. But before I do that, maybe you want me to kind of run through real quickly what we have lined up for next episode, and maybe we'll close out with that just as a preview of what we're going to pick up with next episode.
Oh yeah, for our roundtable for
yeah. So remember the sequence is we're doing because we have a lot to cover in this roundtable. We're doing 2 quest episodes where Andrew and I and Denny and one of the guests will go through the couple of quests over 2 episodes, and then we'll do these feedback episodes in the 3rd week. So this is as we're recording this is June 8th. So 2 weeks from tonight, 1 week from tonight, June 15th, we're going to pick up on session 4, and session 4 is going to cover the following quest in Nuka World. It's going to pick up High Noon at the Gulch and Safari Adventure from the Grand Tour. Now, Andrew, have you done either of those quests yet?
Not with this character, but in previous playthroughs, yes.
I actually ran ahead and did those. I was on a bit of a roll over the past week or last week before I had some travel, and did those 2, and look forward to sharing my experience with those. Safari. This is a sneak preview, a little bit of a spoiler alert. Safari Adventure to me is a lot of fun. I enjoy that one. High Noon at the Gulch, maybe not so much.
Pat, I'm playing around with a new mod that actually, I believe Paul, who will listen to some feedback here in just a couple minutes, Paul is using this. It lets you recruit lots of different new followers or how many ever you want. But I'm using that one and a different new mod that lets you create followers. So with those 2, I can create followers and then have as many as I want. It's actually a really sort of dangerous combination. But I'm the one thing that I am not a fan of these is that they don't have that new monster that we're about to encounter in the Safari part. I want that monster, and then they don't have the Far Harbor monsters either.
Oh yeah,
I would want the Gulper, the Death Claw, and then our new friend monsters that we're about to meet in the Safari.
Yeah. So good stuff. So that we got that next week, and then in 2 weeks on the 22nd, we will pick up with our Tales quest. We got 3 of those again. First one is the house that Bruce built. And I'll go ahead and, Andrew, mention the locations just for people. There's a little bit of a hint because the Tales quests are sometimes a little hard to find. These are on the website, by the way. So if you're listening at work or in the car or whatever, just go to asapodcasting.com, click on the Fallout feed link, and follow the scroll down to the round table, and you'll find the same information. So no need to make notes if you're not where you can write something down. But the house that Bruce built. Now again, this is grabbed off the website for the mod, and we have found at least one of these that's been wrong. So if anybody finds that these hints to the locations are not right, let us know. We'll update the website and update it on the show. But information we have so far is that the house that Bruce built can be found by talking to Pin, P-I-N, at the bowling alley in front of East City Downs. East City Downs, remember, is the crazy robot racing place.
Nice.
So that's to go to the bowling alley. The 2-lane blacktop. I think I found this one with a prior character just randomly. The 2-lane blacktop that's the name of the quest, and you find that by talking to Smoke on the roof of Leighton Tower Apartments. And I believe I know what that is. I won't spoil it. But that's the second one, and then the third and final quest is called Full Exposure. And you pick that up at a shop east of Diamond City. And I believe I've found the shop, but I have not done the quest yet. So I think 2 out of 3 of these I have at least a little bit of information on. So hopefully they all work out.
Lots of stuff to get through the next couple.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and then keep your and then for feedback, we will do feedback in 3 weeks on the 29th. So please keep getting the feedback, and love to have the high level community involvement we got here.
And yeah, and speaking of which, we have a lot more feedback still to get through this evening. But Pat, I understand you'll be bowing out. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Andrew, great to record with you tonight. Thanks to all the listeners who sent us in feedback. Please keep that coming in. Andrew, thanks for hanging out and covering the rest of the feedback from Paul, from Ray. I think another set of feedback from Jeremy, and I think one more from Lee as well. So
yeah.
Really appreciate those taking time to do not one but two sets of feedback for the episode. There's a deer in my front yard.
Oh, hi, Mr. Deer.
He's cut on the we have a motion detector security light, so I'm looking out the window of my office, and there's it's like a little rad stag. I kind of wish I had a gun to murder him.
You probably just froze in the light, be like, what the fuck? The light.
I think they're used to it because he's actually just ignoring it completely. He's out in the middle of standing in the middle of a spotlight, chewing on my holly tree out
that's the
front.
dangerous part. When they get tame, that's when they start wandering near roads too often.
Yeah, these little fuckers. We had the deer out the wazoo. So anyway, that's my life here, just after midnight on the East Coast. So. Andrew, I will sign off and let you continue the recording of these last few feedbacks, and I will catch up with you next week.
All right, Pat. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good night, everybody. Talk to you next time.
We'll see you, Pat. Well, we're going to just keep on plowing through our feedback. I mentioned earlier that Paul was talking about his multiple followers mod. I always like hearing about that because I like as many followers as I can have in tow. I actually posted a picture to the Facebook group earlier today. I was in the process of creating my boy farm, which is of course an inside joke of the Facebook group, and it sounds a lot more disgusting than it actually is. Totally innocent, so don't worry about it. You have to go back and listen to season 2 of the Fallout Roundtable if you want to get the boy farm inside joke. But I was in the process of creating an army of 50 Institute boys to follow me around the wasteland, but someone warned me, hey, that your Xbox isn't going to be able to handle that, man. Your Xbox isn't going to be able to, it's going to crash out. And I said, bullshit, man. I used the ritual stone on my PlayStation 3 and had like 50, 60, something like that. People all following me at once. I had huge parties of mammoths and giants and wizards and, all sorts of different things following me. And it was like, at least I would average probably 20 or 30 things follow me, but I remember on purpose dragging a bunch of dead bodies in Windhelm, everything that I could find, and I found 30, 40 at once, drag everyone outside, and keep adding to the party. I think I got words up to 50, 60. It's incredible. But that would totally stall out the PlayStation, but I thought that the Xbox will totally be able to handle that. Let's just load them up. But on the 39th Institute boy, it crashed in the middle of the process. So that's another thing that's interesting to think about is the chem station is used a lot with mods. I meant to ask Victor this specific question, and I don't know if he'll actually get around to listening to this. I should write him and ask him this question so we can read his answer on the show. But I was going to ask Victor, why is it the chem station that's always used with mods? Why can't you just use the armor station or the gun station and stuff? But with mods, it seems like you go to the chem station, then you craft a holotape, then you put the holotape in your Pip-Boy, then the Pip-Boy gives you instructions, and then you can craft some other item from the chem station, and then that item you use to do whatever the mod wants you to do, like save or just whatever you can think of. But it's always through the chem station. I always just kind of wondered why specifically the chem station. Why is that specifically lore friendly or something? Maybe it's because of lore. Who knows? People are always crazy about their lore. So that's great. Pat, thanks for being on the show with me this evening. Always love podcasting with Pat. So let's move on with some more audio feedback. Let's see, where are we going to go with? Let's go ahead and roll with Paul there. Let me see if I can scroll down. Sorry guys. Totally. Yeah.
My character was a high charisma, low agility build using the unlimited companion framework. When we left off, Bertie from the Tales of the Commonwealth was voted in as president. So the first thing we had to do was get the cure for McReady at MedTech. After dropping the cure off with a caravan, we took the gang over to Belcher's Cave. We broke out the Ghoul brother out of the Raider jail and the Federation stockpile, and then I made a mistake. I wanted to kill off the Raiders, but the Ghoul brother got killed somewhere in the battle. Bobby was kind of understanding and not really broken up about it. He sent us down to shake down some drug dealers in Good Neighbor in Diamond City. It was kind of stupid to bring 6 people and a dog, but nobody found out, nobody ID'd us, so we got away with it. When the assignment, then we got an assignment to rig a boxing match. I cheated our way through that by sabotaging the opponents. Bobby didn't have any more work, so was off to check out someone setting up a postal system. We got a network card at the CIT dorm, and the next card was supposed to be found at the Cambridge police station. When we got there, Dance was killing ghouls in the front yard, so we helped him out. But the problem was, once the ghouls stopped coming, Dance just kept there saying, "Wait for the next wave." So we couldn't get to the network card, and that quest is locked out. We stumbled around for a while looking for the Cambridge safe house, and once we found it and went inside, we picked the lock, and that impressed the new boss. So she sent us to Hallucinogen, and we entered a door there that was locked out the first time we went through it. The boss got her alternate recipe for Jet, and McCready really liked that, so he gave up his perk, and I turned him loose to go back to his kids. But Kate wanted to go to Vault 95, so we had to head off to the edge of the glowing sea. There we overwhelmed the exterior defenses with grenades, and the interior wasn't too much of a problem. With a squad of 5 people and a dog, you can take on almost anything. Decided to go out to Nuka World and start those quests. I decided against putting everybody in power armor. Followers have a hard time staying in. They tend to jump out and leave the power armor God knows where. So slept overnight in the Fizz Top Grill, and that's when I found out I somehow took Bertie as a lover. I guess that's what happens when you become president. We walked over to the bottling plant in the regular old armor the next day, and the exterior wasn't too bad. We threw a lot of grenades and managed to kill the queen and the 3 kings outside. Then we breached the door and went inside and was immediately attacked by one Assaultron. I managed to put that one down, but 4 more crawled up the ladders to attack us en masse. So it was a 6 versus 4 battle. After a few stim packs, everybody got repaired and everything went well. We went up to some more stairs and found the terminal, put in a password we found on the roof, and opened a security door somewhere down below. We made our way down, clearing the building as we went, and eventually made it to red Nuka World T-51 power armor. And I jumped in that and finished clearing the rest of the downstairs. Eventually, I gave the park to the operators. Back to the Fizz Top Grill, and fixed up one of the XO1 power suits we picked up last time, and slept there overnight. And the next day, I jumped in the suit, headed to Kitty Kingdom. I decided to use the Lorenzo artifact gun to shoot some ghouls. It was a lot of fun one-shotting those ghouls until I got too close to a wall and killed myself for some reflected damage. That's when I decided to go back to the laser pistol. We stumbled around and finally made it to the castle, and then we cleared the tunnel, and then we went to the fun house. Then we got directed back to the roof of the castle, and I played the tape we found on Rachel a few days ago, and that quest finished peacefully. But Kate and Gage really hated that, and Kate especially doesn't seem like she's ever going to give me her perk to the pack. Well, we had one glitched quest. That's something I guess you can expect in Fallout. We'll just hope it doesn't happen anymore.
I guarantee you it'll happen a ton more. Hey, Paul, I love hearing from you, man. That's so awesome. Someone else will actually embrace just having a massive team, followers. It's so great to hear from you, Paul. Please keep up the great feedback. There was a couple of notes that I had jotted down. That's great. It sucks that the quest got bugged. That stinks. I don't know if there's a way to battle through it. Sometimes it's just if I go back and I fast travel to a place and then reload and do stuff, sometimes it'll just punch it through. But sometimes, things just get bugged and bogged down, especially when you start adding mods and things just get a little fishy here and there. McCready's perk, I understand you picked up his perk and then dismissed him immediately. That's kind of fun. Do you dismiss all your followers to one specific location or just to wherever they came from? Do you like to keep them back at Sanctuary altogether, or do you just let them go wherever? Let's see. Kate and to Vault 95. I just was over there the other day. I took Kate in and spoiler alert to everyone who doesn't know, Kate is a big drug addict, and there is part of Vault 95 is you can clean up Kate's drug addiction, and like a clean room and a chair. You sort of put her in a chair, and she loses her addiction. It's a pretty cool chair. If that were real, someone would make a lot of money. That brings up you like your multiple followers. I was using the create a follower mod, Paul, and I was running around with 10 cats and 20 Institute boys, and then I sent all those away or like reloaded. I basically reloaded a different game, and then I decided I want to take some interesting robots with me, so I took all the unique named robots that they provided with the mod. So I had Liberty Prime, the full-size, like 2-story tall version, and then I also had Takahashi, the noodle robot from Diamond City, and also Beer Buddy. Is that his name? Buddy, the I think it's Beer Buddy, right? No, I can't remember what he's called. But I had all of those 3 guys at once, and it was really fun to have all those guys, especially Liberty Prime. You would think that he would shoot mini nukes or whatever. He's literally throwing them. It's weird. I thought it would be like a cannon that he's shooting these armaments out of or whatever. Sorry. So that's great, Paul. Thank you so much for checking in. Again, right back to me. Is there any specific reason that you give any specific piece of the park to say the operators or the pack? You said, I gave this section to the operators and I gave the second one to the pack. Is it just, does something go into that? Does your role play actually consider, what are the benefits of being sided with the pack or this or that? Because I don't pay attention enough to know whether that stuff makes a difference. So get back, hit me up. Does that make a difference? There's some power armor. Did you guys see over in the Nuka-Cola bottling plant? That was off to the side. I think I mentioned in the roundtable episode that I couldn't get it on my first time through, but I just happened to wander back through the Nuka-Cola bottling plant, and the door was already open after I just wandered through some of the back door stage. So I probably hit a button somewhere or a terminal accidentally without knowing what I was doing, but I actually opened up the door. But yeah, so there's some pretty cool power armor in there if you guys are into power armor. So thanks again, Paul, for checking in. So we need to get Ray has written us, so we'll go to Ray next, and then we'll have some Jeremy, we'll check in with Jeremy again. We started the show off with Jeremy. We'll check in with Jeremy. And Lee also has another set of feedback. So we'll get to Lee as well. So let's go ahead and see if we can track down some of Ray's mighty words. Everyone, you best pay attention when Ray speaks, because Ray knows what he's talking about.
Hello, Fallout Roundtable. Ray here with the Adventures of Maximilian. So, asking Bobby for some more work, he tells you about a gym that's running a robot boxing ring and that he wants a cut of the business. He sends you to talk to Spitball, and she tells you the plan is to get the gutsy robot William Whipple, who's a Revolutionary War hero and a member of the First Congress, to win his first 2 fights and then throw the third. She gives you the commands to control William when he's going into the fight. When he fights the Protectron, he has to speak like the Shroud to go into attack mode. When he fights the Gutsy, you take the Gorilla option to go into defense mode. And when you fight the Assaultron, you use the Trust option to throw the fight. After successfully completing all 3 bouts, you return to Bobby, get a reward of 400 caps and some drugs and some XP. If you use the wrong commands and fail the fight, when you get back to Bobby, he wants 1,000 caps for blowing the deal. And if you don't give it to him and you tell him you're not going to take the deal, then everybody turns hostile. It's very trivial to kill them, so their levels must be pretty low. But then, of course, you don't go to the next round. For the You've Got Mail quest, Maximilian heads to the Nahant post office where he meets Marion Taylor and her dad, Frank. To save her dad from the dangers in the Commonwealth, she wants to start terminal mail, an electronic system of delivering mail. He thinks she's crazy. She read about it in a Boston Bugle story about drug dealers that had run their business with this electronic mail. She thinks if we can get 2 network cards, she can start her network. The first one we find in the Cambridge police station. It requires interacting with the Brotherhood of Steel recon team, but they're easily convinced we're there to help. And we get in and loot the place and leave. The second is inside the CIT dorms. In the dorms, we take out a few raiders, pick up the second card, and Marion is going to connect the cards and reward you so that now you can craft your own T-mail terminal in your workshop. Why can't he be like the other middle-aged dads and just go chase Mirelurks or something? Marion quips. Jet fueled. Searching the area around the CIT ruins where we've found the network board, Max discovers the Cambridge safe house. Inside, there's a woman, Rabbit, 2 men, Virus and Slim, trying to open a terminal locked door. Slim is frustrated and pounding the jet. Rabbit asks if Morawski sent you, and she talks as if everything is in code. She wants you to open the door any way you see fit. So Max opens it with a lockpick and turns out to be a test. They want to break into a lab to make shit-free jet. You're asked to meet them at the hallucinogen building. Entering the building, you fight gunners to get to the door where you need to meet Rabbit and her crew. Slim trips the turret defense, so Max has to go through and destroy all the turrets and lockpick all the doors. And Max just had to check really quick. Unfortunately, at this point, Slim is essential, and you can't kill him, and not have everybody go hostile on you. Once in the test lab, you have to talk to Rabbit in order to open the door. There are 3 options to choose from, and she gives you the option to choose, or if you have high enough high enough luck, you can pass a check and she'll pick for you. Choosing the door on the right, not Max's first or second choice. We entered a room with the terminal and a holotape that gives you the formula. Looting the room for chems, safe full of ammo. You talk to Rabbit, and in the quest, sugar bombs were the ingredient that replaced the Brahmin dung in making jet, and that ended jet fuel. And so Maximilian and Porter Gage head back to Nuka World to unload all their loot and see what's next. Thanks for listening.
I told you not to mess around with Ray. He knows everything, and you can't. I don't have anything to add to Ray because Ray is quite thorough and amazing. But I will say, I tweeted on the Fallout at the Fallout Feed account on Twitter, also in the Facebook group, facebook.com/a Skyrim Addict podcast. Ray posted some video feedback for the podcast, which we haven't actually had anyone do yet. So that's very inventive and awesome for his roundtable character Maximilian. On his YouTube channel, Ray posted some video feedback. That's incredible. Ray, thank you for taking the initiative to doing something innovative and being awesome and sending in some video feedback. No one has really done that before. We have email feedback. That's great. We have audio feedback, which is our preferred method usually, but now this new video feedback aspect, I don't know. Are you going to make us to have some sort of stupid video aspect to the show? Because I don't know if I have that sort of time to put in that sort of production work into this little podcast, man. So, Ray, you got to relax, man. You're making us look bad. So go to the Facebook group to find video feedback from Ray, or hit us up on the Twitter page to find Ray's video feedback. And Ray, of course, you can't kill Slim, but of course, Ray would know which players in the game are exactly killable and not, because Ray likes to play the game twice, killing everyone the first time and then playing it in a sort of civil manner after he figures out the consequences of killing everyone in the room. That's great. And actually, Ray mentioned luck, which sparked my memory. Sarah, if you're still listening, we much earlier on, you asked what luck does. You're like, and I just put one in luck, but I'm not really sure what that does. Maybe you guys can tell me what that does. Luck, the first and foremost, it controls the amount of experience points that you get by completing an action. Say if you turn in a quest and you would get a normal 200 XP, 200 experience points, you would, if you had a higher luck, you have a possibility of getting like 220 or 260 experience points for turning that in. So it's basically just levels you up faster, and it also lets you access perks like Idiot Savant, and that one sometimes triples your XP for random events. So it's just like randomly we'll be like, oh, you're cashing in this quest. Oh, instead of 200, you get 600 XP for this. And sometimes it can be really significant and level you up 1 or 2 whole levels if it hits on a high enough level and you're low enough in the game. It's pretty fun. And also in the luck column, you will find Bloody Mess, I believe, which is a fun one to play with. Gives you, I think, 5% bonus damage to your weapons, but also makes a little bit of a more gory scene, shall we say. But it's those are fun ones to check into on the luck column. But yeah, Ray, thanks again so much for your feedback. We will check in with Jeremy next for his second round of feedback for this evening. So thanks again, Jeremy, for being such a dedicated and wonderful listener and play along participant. You've just sort of recently joined in with the group and this season, and we've always appreciated everything you've done for the last couple months here. So, Jeremy, thanks a lot for your participation in the group, and we will listen to your second bit of feedback now.
Hello, Roundtable. This is Jeremy McDaniel, checking in from the Real World Commonwealth, Boston, Massachusetts. I'm going to give you an update for my character, Michelle Briggs. In previous feedbacks, I've been doing that prose story form sort of format But this time I'm just going to keep it loose and conversational and just, talk about my character a little bit and what's been going on for Michelle. Let's see. I've been doing the Tales quests. I think on the last one I left off kind of doing Bobby's quest in Black-Eyed Bobby and that whole Raider gang. And I've been actually playing a lot of the main quest though in my spare time. I was also with the main quest, I've reached like the Glowing Sea, and that was my first time experiencing that. I haven't actually played through this is my first time playing through the main quest, so it's been really enjoyable. I love the story, to be honest. I hear mixed reviews on that, but in my mind, the playthrough of it so far has been really, really fun. And but anyway, the Glowing Sea I thought was incredible and crazy difficult. I was actually in an Xbox party with my buddies and mentioned I was heading that way, and they've played the game, and they're like, "You better bring your power armor, or you're probably gonna die. You're not gonna make it." And I was like, "Yeah, right. Like, I'll be fine. No worries." But anyway, on the way to the Glowing Sea, I actually became over encumbered. All my followers were loaded up with junk, and I wanted to go back home and unload before I went into the Glowing Sea. And I ended up grabbing some power armor, and boy, was I glad, because it was insane out there. One memorable moment was I was sniping a Deathclaw from afar. I think I had a suppressed sniper. I hit it, and it kind of came approaching, kind of looking for me, and didn't know my exact location. And maybe 5 rad scorpions kind of just jumped in to the middle of the scene and started attacking the Deathclaw for me, and ended up finishing them off with a mini nuke just on top of them all. It was beautiful. Actually, that kind of feeds into my assigned perks of Demo Expert and Heavy Weapons. I've been utilizing that a ton, and I can't say enough how much I love those perks and rely on them in my playthrough to survive. I am constantly, running out of Molotovs and frag grenades and missiles for my missile launcher. So probably my favorite is the missile launcher. Although the mini nuke is, of course, fun. It's not as practical. But I'm just really, I think those 2 perks, heavy weapons and Demos Expert, or Heavy Gunner. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Heavy Gunner. And Demo Expert, they both kind of, they give you a double bonus for when you use things like the mini nuke and missile launchers. So I really love that. It helped me get through that Glowing Sea along with that power armor. I've gotten a little further through the main quest. I'm at the point now where I've got I killed the Courser, and I went to Tinker Tom, got that thing hacked, and I know how to get into the Institute. I just have to revisit Virgil. I've also been doing a lot of Railroad quests. That's my assigned faction. Really like the Railroad a ton. Deacon's a lot of fun. And also Tinker Tom. I love Tinker Tom. The voice actor for that and just the writing for that character was really, it's quite a personality. And in the Railroad quests, I joined the Railroad, obviously. In that first quest, you get the Deliverer, and you actually get the Deliverer off of a deceased Railroad agent named Whisper. And when I was when I was being accepted into the Railroad, they said I needed a code name, and I kind of went through some talking dialogues. I had like 3 options, and somehow I picked one where I thought I could maybe type my own, but it gave me more options, and I ended up picking Whisper as my code name, and I didn't even realize the connection. But then Desdemona or whoever, maybe Carrington or Deacon, they made it clear, like, oh, that's a great code name because it'll honor that Railroad agent who died. And plus, I love his gun, the Deliverer. It's an awesome weapon. So I've actually also been, those are kind of the main quests, main storylines I've been going through is the Railroad and the main quest. And, I'm now certainly a sympathizer, and I was playing my RP where I thought Sean was dead, but now I'm starting to become more interested of what did happen to my son, Sean. Let's see. I'll start to wrap it up. I've been doing the Tales quests. Ran through the Whipple Willie and throwing the fight. I thought that was cool. The the T-mail, or for Marion and Frank and Nahant, where you get the T-mail going for them, and her mailman father helped them out. And then also I got through the helping Rabbit, Virus, and Slim acquire their pre-war jet at the hallucinogen lab that was Brahmin shit free, which is excellent, and I got some for myself. Love those quests. Still very impressed with the Tales quest. I know they're definitely shallower in their complexity, but it's nonetheless, I'm very impressed in that, especially on that last hallucinogen lab quest. If I'm not mistaken, I guess, did he build that whole interior of that lab, or was that already existing? If so, I thought it was really intricate and really impressive. I also liked that quest in particular because it kind of, I spoke to Rabbit, and those types seemed like they were almost with the railroad, but I don't know, maybe not. I forget what made me think that. So my assigned home is Grey Garden, and I've been building that up. I've looked up online how you can build up onto the overpass, but it's been taking me a long time to just get enough supplies to build something so elaborate. But I'm working on construction for that. Maybe I'll try and share something on the Facebook group as that starts to come together more through the season. I also downloaded Sim Settlements, a lot of Facebook chatter about that mod, and I've been thinking about it, and I've been doing some settlement stuff and stuff with the Minutemen, and I figured I'd give it a whirl, and probably shouldn't have, but I had to delete some mods, and in order to download that one, and it gave me a warning, and I was worried my character would crash, but so far it seems stable. But I would like to hear anyone's experience using that. I actually noticed at Sanctuary, I set up a bunch of plots for sim settlers or settlers to build on, residential or industrial plots. And upon returning, there was no progress. And I was wondering if, maybe because I started the game and already had developed that settlement, is there settings I need to change? But any feedback or anyone's experience really on that mod, I'd love to hear. The last two things I want to mention is I have the follower X688, which I'm assuming is a railroad agent or a synth. Still haven't found them. Still playing through the railroad. I assume that's how I'll meet that person, but I do not know. And also, I finally reached level 30, which, that's kind of... And actually, at level 30, I was prompted that I could listen to the Nuka World radio. And so I'm assuming that's how I can start my Nuka World quests. And now that I'm leveled enough, although I'm four assignments late, I'm going to start getting into that. And I'm excited. I think might do a little more railroad. But after doing maybe finishing up some of the railroad quests I've started, I think I'm just going to go straight Nuka World and Tales. I want to thank you guys again for letting me give the feedback. Sorry this dragged out a little longer than I wanted, as I always say, but I'll sign off. Thanks, guys, and good luck in the Wasteland.
That's so great. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for checking in, and your second feedback also does not disappoint. Amazing. Good stuff. You said synth sympathizer. That is one of the best phrases there. Good stuff. You can now start Nuka World, level 30. You could have started Nuka World much earlier if you wanted to, but it is pretty tough before level 30. So yeah, enjoy, go over there, hop on the transit, and have yourself a grand old time over Nuka World. Welcome to the park. You mentioned that you were removing a mod, and the game does give you a very scary... you were about to remove a mod, and then the next time you start the game, it says, "Wait a second, these mods are removed. Are you sure you want to loot? This is going to be dangerous, and the whole world is going to melt down, and your bank account's going to explode." You can... Victor might yell at me for saying this. You can remove some mods, whatever. It's not a huge deal, but just have a previous save before that. Just be sure to have that just in case you notice something immediately goes weird. You can always reload back to that safe and solid one. But there are certain ones certainly you don't want to remove in the middle of a game. But I've done it before, and it's not been bad. But also, if you listen to this season of the Roundtable, you see what sort of weird, sort of crazy glitches you can get involved in. I can't basically do anything with my settlements and my Roundtable character. It's really frustrating, if you know me, because much like Sarah, I appreciate the SimCity aspect of Fallout 4. Jeremy, also in your second feedback here, you mentioned the Grey Garden Overpass. That is a great place to build. I think maybe it is the highest location that you can build. I think Abernathy Farm has the most stories that you can literally build, but Grey Garden is actually higher. I don't even know what that means. I think I've read that somewhere though. So if you can make sense of that, but that's cool that you can build up to the overpass and then build. I always thought that was really fun. Sim Settlements, I have also loaded it, and I've gone back to an old Roundtable character that was kind of destroyed when big Far Harbor update. And when there's a Far Harbor update, they don't just send out a patch that updates. They send out something that erases Far Harbor and makes you re-download the whole thing, a new updated version. So that totally screwed whatever mod I had going over there on Far Harbor with some weird settlements, so that destroyed that character pretty much. But I've reloaded that character up, and now I just test out mods because I really don't care what happens with that character. So I have been testing out lots of mods, and pardon me, testing out lots of mods. Testing lots of mods out with this character because like I said, I really don't care what happens if something gets crossed up and it gets toasted. It really doesn't matter. You can bury this character. But saying that, I did, like I mentioned earlier, I was making my 50 boy army and on the boy farm, and as I was harvesting boy number 39, the the Xbox froze up, and and I thought, oh no, this really stinks. So I was like, okay, let's just go back and reload. But the game wouldn't load. I was like, oh no, what's going on here? So I just kind of tried to reload. No, that wouldn't go through. Dumped out the menu, went back out to the main menu of the Xbox, and went back into reload. Wouldn't reload. No load. It just wouldn't load the game. Like, oh shit. I think these mods totally melted my Fallout 4, and I just ruined. And I can't get any of my saves, and all of my characters from all my past roundtables and everything we've done. Like, this is all melted down, and it's all gone forever. But then I did a hard reset on the Xbox, and everything reloaded just fine. So, travesty overted. Like that would just be the worst. Actually, I don't know. If I lost this current season roundtable character, that'd be horrible. Are there characters out there that you guys would just be devastated if you lost forever? That would be, yeah. I don't know. I have some favorites out there. One last thing here, Jeremy, on our way out, you have X688. You assume that is an Institute agent. And sorry, buddy, that is incorrect. You're going to have to do a double agent type thing with your role play here, because you're going to go to the Institute and you're going to have to try to get X688 on your side and pull him out of the Institute. Gosh, I don't know how I can do this. You need to get him recruited and then take him out and get all of his favor and then return him back to the Institute and then go continue the rest of your railroad. You need to bring him, get his all the way up, and then go back to the railroad and complete that, because he is in the Institute. He is one of the Institute guys, and the railroad, they don't get along with the Institute so well. But it might be the case, you can't quote me, this might be the case that X688 only becomes available to be your follower after you've completed the Institute storyline. And if that is the case, then you have a conflicting role, and you cannot be part of the railroad and have X688 as your follower. because if you have to get X688 as your follower, you will most likely have either had to destroy the Railroad or the Brotherhood of Steel, maybe both. I'm not even sure. I don't remember anymore. So if that is the case, let us know so we can pump it into our a random character generator. I think we can make it so that if one thing like that pops up, we can make it eliminate the possibility of doing that other aspect that conflicted with the previous rule, if that makes sense. So awesome. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for your second piece of feedback tonight that we've been hearing. Lots of good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, let's just keep rolling right along with number 2 from Lee. Lee, another beefy piece of feedback here. Let's all sit back and pop some popcorn and enjoy.
Hi, Fallout Feed guys and gals. This is Lee Benjamin. I'm going to see if I can make any sense of these notes I've got, since I had to go back and redo some of the Nuka World stuff because I found out that I had messed up my Belcher's Cave, where I couldn't get any missions. You know, once Bobby, or whatever his name is Black Eye Bobby, is dead, he doesn't tend to give you missions anymore. So anyway, this time I talked to him, and he gave me the first quest, the Radio Raiders, and I left and went to Nuka World so that I could go to the transit center for the All Aboard. I got to the transit center and climbed up the rubble to the top of the car park. Up there's a safe and a van, and I could hear the gunners talking. One of the people talking was Commander Kaler. Well, I decided I didn't like Commander Kaler, so I took out my modified 10 mil and proceeded to kill him to death. There was also an Assaultron, which I threw missiles at, and she was actually crawling away when I fired the last one. It felt kind of bad. Anyway, I started looking around to find Dance, who was with me, and he was stuck in the rubble. By the way, this is my character, Bethany. So Bethany went back down the rubble and took Dance around to the front gate since she couldn't seem to get up the rubble. Found a small side gate with an advanced lock, picked it, and Dance said, "I've heard of breaching a door, but that's a lot quieter." Started wandering around, found some souvenirs among the trash piles. The souvenir drinking glasses are pretty nice, but the magnet flowers are pretty hideous. They're just kind of like lumps. I found a tool chest with a stealth boy to the left of the entrance. I've never actually used stealth boys. Don't know why. Found Commander Kaler's body at the top of the escalator. She had a stealth boy and a leaded reinforced combat armor chest piece. If she'd used the stealth boy, it might have saved her. Found a comic fan outfit. Or rather, this is what Bethany's wearing. Comic fan outfit, leaded combat armor, chest armor. And that ended up giving me armor class, or whatever you want to call it, of 117. I had the option of putting on a gunner soldier outfit to raise it to 127, but I don't like Bethany doing barefoot. Anyway, went ahead and got back into my Brotherhood of Steel power armor and proceeded. Parking garage elevator still works up to level 3, which connects to the rubble side. Connects to the rubble side via a small bridge over the main entrance. Dance will wear glasses and a hat, I found out. Isn't that interesting? I took some time to move some junk over to Sunshine Tidings, and when Bethany got back, she was attacked by an unarmed gunner. I was almost ashamed to kill him. Almost. Went back to the Nuka World Transit Center and talked to Harvey. He refused the stim pack, as we've been told, and told him he wasn't thinking straight. He confessed he was a plant and gave Bethany a terminal code for the express train, which of course she would have gotten anyway. Activated the train power and the auxiliary power and traveled to Nuka World with the announcements blazing in her ears. Nuka Station info terminal, 4 choices: you're dead, you're so dead, enjoy dying, and time to die. Unfortunately, none of them do anything, so it was kind of anticlimactic. And that's when Bethany came upon the gauntlet. Turrets, traps, locks, what fun! Bethany always liked puzzles, and it was obvious that these raiders had no appreciation for art. This led to the access tunnels and a turret control terminal. Activate, deactivate. System diagnostics. Says they're offline. And set it to deactivate, but we'll learn more about that later. Found a bed and a cooking station for you survivalists out there. All 10 turrets were deactivated until Bethany saw the monkey. And having had a bad experience with a monkey in her childhood, she shot the monkey in the head, which of course reactivated all the turrets. So that made things interesting for a while. But Bethany got through it and wound up at level 34. She then came across the tunnels with the mines and the trucks, and oh, what a glorious chain reaction she created among it when it went off. And of course, it took out the Mirelurk Bridge. In the Mirelurk area where she'd taken out the Mirelurk, she found a super mutant named Crag. Crag had on him a note. It was Crag's master plan. 1. Find Raider play yard. 2. Crush raiders. 3. Make best meat bag. 4. Take stuff. And 5. Win. Well, apparently he didn't have the opportunity to do all of that since he was dead when I found him. Oh well. Continuing through the gauntlet, the gas room, Nuka World maintenance shed, we first see the flying ants. In the shed, there's a locked room with a sleeping bag. Of course, Bethany's good with lockpick, so that wasn't much of an impediment. Went through the overhead raiders. Came upon the Kolakars and Porter. Gage's long-winded speech and all that. He gave me the weapon, the infamous squirt gun. And this time through, I found Annie and her suicide note. She decided they weren't going to toy with her, so she just ended it. Very sad. Found out that when you take the fusion cord, Gage says the power to the arena is down 30%. Let's hope that makes the guy in power armor less tough. Used mostly the thirst zapper and the suppressed advanced 10mm pistol that served me quite well during this run through. Found out that the gangs in Nuka World are the Disciples, the Operators, and the Pack. Met Porter Gage at the restaurant on the top of Fizztop after taking out the main guy. Fizztop Mountain. Which finished the quest, Taken for a Ride. Looking at my list. Oh, that was way back there. Goodness. I got 620 XP for that. Started an ambitious plan, which is not the way I'm supposed to go with this character. Because the way is not anarchy. Bethany will look for allies against the raiders. I was hoping Bethany could sit in a Kolakar for a picture, but all she could do was stand on them or in front of them. Oh well. Went to the market to sell some stuff. Met Mackenzie from out west. She's a doctor with a slave collar on. She had an idea. Why not kill all the raider leaders? Bethany thought that was a pretty good idea. So that started the quest Open Season. Met a vendor named Shelby Chase, another named Aaron Corbett, and a guy named Chip Morse. Some nice cryptic notes about a power plant plan. Oh yeah, okay. And power plant apparently is in Dry Rock Gulch, which we'll get to later. And something about escapees. Apparently, Chip Morse had been a chief handyman, or was a chief handyman around Nuka-Cola world these days, and had been for the last 20 years. Found a guy named Maddox, who was a drug vendor, and found out that my targets for Open Season are Mason William Black, and someone named Nisha. Met a strange Nuka-Cola bottle-shaped robot called Nira, the Nuka World Informational Robotic Assistant. And through something, I found out that this robot was 61% normal and had turned in a holotape to report its problems. Every once in a while, it would glitch out and start deriding the player. Oh well, what else do you expect, right? Somewhere along in here, I picked up a precious metals quest where there's medallions you can pick up in a lot of the different areas of the park. I thought that might be a good way to look around. Found the operators. Found Mags and William Black. And someone named Ruby. They all wanted to make money. I said my goal was to make money too. Met Lizzie Wyeth outside. Met a guy named Shank who wasn't talking much. I was trying to figure out how to get to one of the objectives, and it looked like I was headed for Ferris wheel, and I wound up at the Nuka-Cola Arena, and I had no idea what where I was going or what I was doing. Talked to Serena Petrovia. Got the Cappy in a Haystack quest. Oh yeah, she's the Nuka-Cola fan who came from Capital Wasteland in Fallout 3, and she has a pair of glasses that are supposed to show you the hidden cappies. I'm not sure they work. I'm not sure they work through a T60 helmet. I'm not sure they work at all. But anyway, maybe someday I'll find out. And then we finally found Kitty Kingdom. I found it while wandering around killing ghouls and trying to avoid the water sprayers, though the T60 seemed to be helping me quite a bit with that. Came into a fun house with a mirrored maze and saw a character named Oswald. He appeared to be a glowing one ghoul and a magician. Found out that in order to get on the belts, across the belts, I had to dump a bunch of stuff so that I could jump along the belts and finally make some progress. There were twirling bottles where you had to jump from one to another. And with all of these athletic feats required, Bethany hit level 35 and decided agility 5 would probably be a good thing to have. Found some terminals and a security door. Found a Holo Halls control, Halls of Hallucination, and was able to set something called Reduced Nausea Mode. Well, let's hope that works. Oh, yes. Round spinning room with multiple doors. Wow. That one was tough. Had to kind of run backwards and tick off the doors as you go around the circle until you finally find an exit. Well, sort of an exit. I found the back of a chain door to the lobby. And somewhere around in there, I found a quest called the Magical Kingdom. Find the magician Oswald, who I had already seen, apparently. Found out he was in a tower headed that way through the middle of a rad storm, which didn't help any. But since I had plenty of rad away, it worked out okay. Found my way through some employee tunnels where the radiation wasn't quite as bad. And found out that Kitty Kingdom had been isolated because the people who were in there, in the service tunnels for Kitty Kingdom, blew up the tunnels. Unfortunately, all the people there, including somebody named Dean Morris, they all got ghoulified. And while I was walking around the area, I could hear Oswald talking. His name was actually Oswald the Outrageous. Found a pump control terminal in lower level and started draining that out. And then found a place where I could turn off the mist sprayers. That would certainly help in wandering around Kitty Kingdom. Let's see. Found out that there's a reactor in the bottling plant whenever I get to that. Of the people who were in the Kitty Kingdom employee tunnels, one of them named Fran, her idea was to use the misters to repel people, since their affliction of being ghoulified was getting worse. After 100 years, some of them started turning feral, and it really upset those who didn't. Found a door to the surface, and Oswald turned the sprayers back on. Gee, thanks, Oswald. Turned out that he was holed up in King Cola's castle, which had plenty of painted ghouls and charred painted ghouls and a bakery. A bakery that had missiles on the safe. And an elevator up to the 4th floor. Oswald talked about the illness and wanted a cure for the ferals. He's waiting for his girlfriend Rachel to return with a cure. Well, as Bethany's charisma is pretty good, she talked him into going to find her to help her out with that. And he left. Then Bethany was able to turn off the radiation sprayers. Or he did, I'm not sure which. Anyway, he decided to leave us some things. He left us a Sword of Wonders, which ignores 30% of a target's damage and energy resistant. It's electrified. It has a serrated blade. Will do 61 damage and 15 electric. So it's a pretty good melee weapon. He also gave us Oswald gave us his top hat, which increases movement by 10%. Then he left. That completed a magical kingdom. And I missed what the XP reward was. So much for paying attention. So I gave Dance the hat, which he looked rather dapper in. I think I posted a picture about that in the Facebook group. In the castle here, there's a stove and a chemistry station, Oswald's terminal, and somebody named D. Oppenheimer's mentioned. That may have been Oswald's original name. I don't know. You go upstairs in the castle, and of course there's a throne that overlooks the audience in the theater area. Went outside and no rad mist. How nice. Found that the bottle rocket looking things can't be shut off. Looked around for a hidden cappy. Couldn't find it. Found a medallion dispenser, though, at the Ferris wheel. And got another one at the Nuka Racers. And then walked back to Fizz Top Grill to repair my power armor. And back to the Commonwealth to sell some stuff. Let's see. Then I visited the parlor, which is the operator's area. Turned out the 10 mil was all I needed to take everybody out, along with some grenades, Molotovs, shotgun, just tools at hand. Magazine William Black, Lizzie Wyeth, all gone, and level 36. Go outside and you get lots more raiders after you've killed, 10 or 12, 15 maybe, inside the parlor. So, other places visited, Cabby's Cafe, which had raiders and civilians, so I had to be careful not to kill any of the civilians. Found a Nuka cider recipe. Ran into a Keith Dawkins and a Lauren Plummer. Anyway, let's see. I left the park to do Radio Raiders Quest. Realized that one of the things I'd gotten off some of the raiders was a Marksman's converted operator's sniper rifle, 7.62 millimeter, does 68 damage and has 10 shots. And did the mission take care of Kane? I think I just let him go, though. Another piece of armor that I found.
Whoops! Lee cut off there in the middle of a thought. Another piece of armor he found. Oh, I don't know, Lee. That seemed like the end of the file that I had there. Sorry we cut you off. Maybe you could continue your thought there. Next time you check in with us. Another piece of armor you found was I'm not sure what you would be finding in that area exactly, but again, Lee, wonderful. Thank you so much for your awesome, in-depth, thorough, very good feedback. You made lots of observations that some other people had still not pointed out yet, so that's great. I love these feedbacks from all of these different angles. It really helps bring a third dimension and rounds out pretty much every aspect you can go over about all these quests. So thank you so much, Lee, for your second in-depth feedback of this episode. And that will conclude all of our feedback for this week. And I just wanted to check in. Keith, our awesome community member Keith in the Facebook group, made a post about Fallout 4, the mass fusion building, the reactor level security is tough. Oh man, if this is the same thing I'm thinking, Keith, I think this is the place maybe where you get the beryllium agitator, if I'm not mistaken. But you're right. At one point, I don't remember if it's before or after you get this, but there's this battle and this sort of like metal, a large room with different leveled platforms, and there's different waves of robots that come out. There's Protectrons, and there's Assaultrons, and then there's the big treaded ones, and they come out, and there's just all sorts of. It's a huge robot battle with different, maybe a couple different robots that you got to fight, and they're super annoying leveled Assaultrons at that point. They got the twisty nipples, claws on that give you purple nurples to death, and then there's their head blasting laser, and then the big robots with the big tank treads that'll just destroy you, Securitrons or whatever they're called. I don't even go. They're so scary that they have erased their name from my memory. So yes, great, Keith, tough battle there, buddy. No kidding. Thanks for checking in there on the Facebook. And one last note before we check off, sign off for the rest of the evening here for the episode. Sorry, everyone, for checking in. This been like a nice 3-hour long episode. Thanks for sticking around for so long, everyone. That's incredible. Keith, for your Facebook group post, thanks for that. I just wanted to shout out to another Facebook member and a new Twitter follower, Rebecca Furrow. Rebecca, thanks so much for following on Twitter and interacting with us on the group. So Rebecca and I have just sort of touched base a little bit on Twitter this week. So thanks, Rebecca, for listening to the show. We always appreciate the support. So let's go ahead and sign off for the evening. It's been a nice, big, long episode. I'd like to remind anyone, if you'd like to do a play along, you can contact us at thefalloutfeed@gmail.com. You can always just go to our website, ASA Podcasting, and select the Fallout Feed section. Scroll down there a little bit and you'll find our character generator. Roll yourself a character, hop on into the action. We're over in Nuka World. We're doing some Tales of the Commonwealth mods. Everything people have been describing here that you've listened to for the last 3 hours. But if you want to hop on the show and send in your audio feedback, we'd love to play it. This whole show is based on the community, and you can tell the great community involvement that we have. It's so great that everyone sent in all your thoughts. I love hearing all of them, and we couldn't do it without you guys. So on that thought, I will say thanks everyone for listening to the show, and we will see you in the wasteland.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout Feed, a Skyrimatic podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the wasteland.